Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Dockside Festival and the Maughan Thiem Ford SA Sailing League. My name is Jordan Spencer. Joining me in commentary is my great mate, Mr. Nick Bice.
Great to be here, Jordan, of what is the last day of the Dockside Festival for the final.
The final.
Of the Maughan Thiem SA Sailing League.
It's good. We're going to be underway in half an hour, and in the middle is the world's most handsome man, Mr. Maughan Thiem. Mate, the man behind the Sailing League in Australia. How are you?
I'll take that compliment. Always handsome man, but I'll dismiss that. But thank you. It's good to be here.
Good to have you here, mate. So, mate, this is your event in terms of Sailing League. You know, the Sailing Champions League. What is that about?
It's an event or series that we've now adopted, taken from Europe, which is just massive. So over there in Europe, there's 23 different nations have a national sailing league, and Australia for the last 12 years hasn't. So it's all about versus club. Every other sport in the world is about clubs, whether it's soccer, cricket, football. It's about a club putting forward their best young team of 2 male, 2 female, and taking on the club down the road. And then once you've taken them on, the club interstate, then the club overseas, and the best club in the world.
There's bragging rights. Now, for the listeners, the viewers, you can't see it on screen, but there is a fire vessel putting on a show literally right in front of us. So that's what all that noise is.
Yeah, the noise we can hear is a couple of fireys really showing off. I just saw the rest of our camera crew do a runner with their cameras in their hands, not to film, but to get away from the salt water that's getting blown around.
It's cool. Mate, it's a great concept. I love the idea. You're exactly right. Sport is about club versus club. You know, Bicey, you're a passionate club man in a lot of sports, in everything you do. And so it is a great little idea. And you run a club, Bicey. You're the commodore of a club that's got 3 teams in the final here today. What's your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, I think being part of a club, you need to be proud of being part of your club. And this is something that makes people very proud of being part of their club. So whoever is successful today, whether it's Bronsey Yacht Club, whether it's Largs Bay, whether it's Cruising Yacht Club in South Australia, every single member of that particular club should feel very proud of what they've achieved.
Now, Mark, one of the interesting things you'll know, you'll find interesting is yesterday, whilst we were doing the qualifying rounds and the commentary, we were getting messages from all the different clubs who are putting the display up live in their clubs. So there was, hundreds of Opti sailors sitting there watching and all sorts of stuff like that. So the combination of doing the SA League with Nick and Harry and the Dockside Festival has opened up that coverage for you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. There's effectively 400 plus clubs in Australia.
Yep.
A lot of those clubs have TVs in their bar, and a lot of sailors like to spend time sailing, but also at the bar. So to get sailing, whether it's Sail GP or America's Cup or ocean race footage up there is great, but to have their sailors, their young sailors representing their club on the screen and get some of those barflies supporting them, cheering for them, and helping them out when they're, in fact, this water's getting very close. So it is a model.
I wish you could see. Oh, people are going to get. Literally, all the audience along the wharf is just getting hammered. They've just run away. You'll see them. You can't see it, but yes. Okay, so there's a bit of comedy going on there with the fire department. That was hilarious. They just took everyone out.
I think the umpires would love to have that power, wouldn't they? Yeah. Someone infringes, they just high pressure hose them.
I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Why haven't we done that in sailing?
It's the next step, I think.
It is the
next step. Actually set up a whole bunch of fire pumps around the joint.
Yeah. All right. So look, we need to talk. We've got a great event going on. We've got some great coverage. So let's explain for those who are joining for the first time exactly how the finals works. You want me to do that, Bice, or you want to jump on that?
No, why don't you take us through it, and I can jump
colourful
into some
commentary.
side commentary.
Just corrections where you have to.
Okay, so at 1:30 we've got 6 teams into the final, and we'll touch on those teams in a moment. 6 teams are in the final. The top 2 from each of the qualifying rounds has come into the final. What you'll see is a practice race. They all must compete, they all must finish. Practice race just to warm them up. and then we go into 3 races, whereby the person that comes last in that race is eliminated. No ifs, no buts. So that will strip us down after 3 races to 3 remaining boats for the grand final. In that final, if you come first, you win the whole event. If you come second, you come second, and if you come third, you've come third. So that is the essential element. The top 2 teams will go to the Asia Pacific Sailors Champions League, Sailing Champions League final.
Yeah, basically. So it's a brutal format. Like, you could win every single race for the weekend and lose that last race, and which is fantastic because it means someone standing on the shore or watching live on the internet.
Yep.
It's whoever crosses the line in that final race first wins the regatta.
Indeed.
We don't have to explain it. There's no handicaps involved. There's no countbacks.
It is brutal though.
It is. It's tough. But we're also sailing in confined waters, like sailing here on the river.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brutal elements to it.
Yeah.
So a bit of luck comes into play, but there's a lot of races that the luck evens out.
Now, I know you're a legend, mate. You're a gold medalist. You've done it all. But I can tell you, I was standing next to Ben Ainsley in Dubai just after the Sail GP final, where they had been the dominant boat, and then last jibe to the finish, the Australians take the win. And I was having to interview Ben, and I could just see the hurt written all over him. So the brutality of this sort of thing, because that's not how we grow up with sailing. But as you say, for building profile, for making it easy for people to watching to understand, it's really, really good.
Yeah, and it is partly about the disappointment. Yes, there's going to be a winning club, and there's going to be a team with 4 really happy sailors and a happy club behind them.
Yep.
But there's 12 other clubs here who'll be disappointed.
Yep.
And the crowd and the spectators get to see that live.
Yep.
So if someone spits it at an umpire or at a commentator, it'll be caught live.
It's exactly right. And that the proof of that and the value of it has been the comments we've received. So we've had a bunch of VIPs out here watching, absolutely blown away by what sailing provides and offers. It's the same every time I'm at these stadium events. We get such an amazing response because people see sailing as something completely different to what they imagine.
Yeah, and it's also, we're not trying to explain the sport because it's an extremely difficult sport to understand, and it's very technical, it's equipment based. We're just putting on a show, like literally within 10 metres of the shore. So it's a really attractive sport to watch, even if you don't understand anything about it. So let's put more of it in front of more people, and then those people will introduce their kids to the sport or down the track. So, and then we should also have those, I guess, come and try activities alongside these events, so little kids can have a go, or remote-controlled yachts, or
exactly that. There's so much going on here at the Dockside Festival. It is. I've been convincing some friends of mine to come down, and now their kids are running everywhere. So it's been going great. So let's talk about the teams. We've got 6 teams in the final. 3 of the teams, Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia, whose boats they are, have got all 3 of their teams into the final. The Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club has got both of their teams into the final, and then Largs Bay got one of their teams. So in boat 1 is the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia Team 2 with Greg Allison at the helm. He won the qualifying round for qualifying 2, the second round, the morning yesterday. He's sailing with Josh Hinks, Curtis Mitchell and Monique Haynes. Know any of these people, my friend?
I'll be lying if I said no, yes, but no, there's some names there. And the classes they sail too, it's all really like from Sharpies to Fireballs to Melgers. A lot of them are dinghy boat sailors, but there's actually some older skippers and sailors in there as well, leading the way. So
well, Grego's been a long time sailor, and he's got a young team on there. Long time sailor, and a fantastic guy, and underrated in a lot. He's a very talented sailor, and he's been up there in the worlds. I think he got 3rd in the Fireball Worlds in my memory in the past. Boat number 2 is boat 1 from Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club. That's skippered by Sandy Higgins. Most people in the world would have heard the Higgins sailing name. You know, they are quite an iconic sailing family, particularly at Brighton and Seacliff. Sailing with Ellen Sampson, Angus Higgins and Joel McKenzie. So this is the team those three were the team that were at the Asia Pacific Champs with Sandy's son was skippering last year in Newcastle.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a regatta in South Australia without the Higgins name there.
No, that's exactly right.
And it's really pleasing. Like in Victoria, where I'm from, we've had like Chris Jackson. He sailed with his kids, so James and Sophie.
Yep.
So it's actually an intergenerational thing. So he's sailed against his kids and also with them.
Yes.
And he's been beaten by his kids on most occasions.
Oh, poor Jacko. Sorry to hear that, buddy. And there's the list up there on the screen, just in case you're wondering. Boat 3 is... and by the way, Sandy was the overall winner of the third qualifier by 3 points. He had a good margin. Boat 3 is Cruising Yacht Club South Australia Boat 3, which is Carter Baker. Okay, so Carter sort of had a little bit of volatility in his round. He was second and he crept into the finals. There were three boats that could make the final. There was 1 point between three boats in their last race, and it was a countback. And that in the countback, Carter had more wins, so he had the win. He's sailing with Murphy Cohen, Sailor Cohen, which is my favourite name in the whole world, and Thomas Gordon. Any input there, boss?
Well, a young team, as you mentioned, and youth team. They've been part of the youth program at the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia, and they've sailed these boats a lot. So they're very aware of how to get these boats around, how to manoeuvre them, and what we've seen in the lead-up or the qualifiers is you need to get around the track tidy.
Yep.
So youth and enthusiasm spent a lot of time in the boat, so they could be a bit of a dark horse here.
Okay. Well, speaking of youth and enthusiasm, the boat number 4 is the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia Team 1, skippered by Robbie Jewson. Fritz, youth and enthusiasm. That man is, I think Fritz is into his 60s now, but he's still fit as a fiddle, ripping, still rocking the six-pack.
Used to have youth. Still has enthusiasm.
His weakness will be sight, seeing the marks, seeing the start line. He is a super legend of Fritzy boy, and he's sailing with a fantastic team. They've got Maddie Hansen, who any yacht would be very happy to have Maddie Hansen on.
Absolutely.
James Belton's come on board, and then of course one Rachel Patterson. Rachel unfortunately has bad genetics. Your sister.
Yes. Yep.
Unfortunately.
So there'll be no favourites here. Of course, Cruising Yacht Club South Australia, but no. No, a strong team, a team that Deuce has sailed together, well, specifically with Matt and Rachel in many boats, and more recently the Melgers 24, of which they won the Nationals. So they'll be a good team to keep an eye on.
Yeah. A good team to keep an eye on. Look, one of the favourites coming in. It's going to be very intense, but the whole no points carry forward. You don't have to manage your regatta, which is one thing Fritzy does. He's really good at not having weakness, bad scores on his card. He'll take less risk. Is Fritz? He's a real risk manager, and this is not an event about risk management. This is about hitting corners and coming out in front, taking risks. You'll be happy with this one, mate. Like you like me. Boat 5 is the Largs Bay team, which is led by Ashley Emery, a female skipper, which we love to see. I think she's cherub aero sort of background. She's doing the aeros at the moment because Largs have got the Nationals coming up in those. Sailing with Finley Bunt, Tabitha Stevenson. Now, there should be a little bit of magic on that boat if you guys remember. That would have gone over everyone's head except a few of the older.
More experience on your side for that one.
Yeah,
Jordan.
Rachel Hutchko. I'll explain the magic joke in a minute, but it's great to see. We've got 3 females on that boat, 1 male.
Which is fantastic. So at the national level, we've mandated that every team has to have 2 male, 2 female.
Yep.
Because there is no reason not to. Having that mixed fleet, it's great on the water, but it just makes for a better event on the land as well. Mm-hmm. So we've, I guess, gone out on a limb there, and like compared to the rest of the world and most other national leagues don't enforce that, we actually think it makes a better event.
Yep.
And down the track, yes, we do want to have separate women's leagues and youth leagues, but at this point, I really love this mixed format, and the females should be skippering as well, which is So that'll be the team I'm barracking for.
Well, Ashley, I will say, sailed brilliantly in her heat. So she was in the same round as Greg Allison's, and so she finished second to the Greg Allison team. And I think she was a past Largs Sailor of the Year, so she's quite talented and certainly recognised as that. The Tabitha Stevens was the daughter of the Darren and Samantha in Bewitched. That's how old I'm doing that reference. So that's how far back I went. All the oldies in the yacht club are having a laugh.
Bit of a chuckle.
There you go. And our final team is Brighton team number 2, which is skippered by Benny Hinks, and he's sailing with Fallon Katz, Harrison Green, and Jonas Barrett. Youth. So Benny and Carter, so team number 3, have been 420 team for quite a while together. They've just split apart, and Ben was very, very, very good. So Ben and Carter came out of that first Friday night qualifying round, which was light winds, and he looked really good. They did some really nice both the young guys did some really nice professional stuff.
So it'll be interesting now, though, with a bit of a different weather pattern. We're into the southwest of, 12 to 14 knots?
Yeah.
Gusting maybe a little bit more. So those pressure lines are going to be really critical, and that's what the qualifiers have shown us, where these boats position themselves from a pressure point of view. Makes a big difference to the finishing position.
The other really good thing, sorry to talk there, mate, is that the wind is running straight down the river. We're going to get a proper length course in, and it will be intense racing and lots of bullets, lots of pressure, lots of opportunity to make mistakes.
And relatively low tide as well. So anyone that goes right out of the bottom marks is going to be running into quite a shallow water, as opposed to if you're going left, you're coming straight up against the wall of the wharf. So that'll be great for the spectators if they come this way, and great for the spectators sitting over at the Birkenhead Tavern watching as well if they go over that way.
And I guess it's a venue where there's no local knowledge. There's not much sailing that happens here.
Well, there's local knowledge from last year's event. So the conversation this morning already is last year in this direction, that right hand, the Birkenhead side, the opposite side to where we're sitting, paid. And I was chatting to a couple of sailors, they were talking about going over there, and I said, well, you're probably right. The wind on Friday was running down the river, but it was slightly towards us and was compressing against the wall, and it only paid for about an hour. But yeah, I think you'll see most of them going over that way.
Yeah.
But tide should start flowing in. We might actually get a tiny bit of chop because we've got wind. We'll end up with wind against tide fairly shortly, but I don't think we'll get too much build up in here.
No. It's not a great deal of fetch getting down here, but as far as building much waterway, let's say. So let's keep an eye on this, and the teams are out there now just probably checking out all those potential things, whether it's windier in the left, windier in the right, what's happening downwind, what are the wind shifts doing, where is the wind compressing. So we'll keep a little eye out for the next 10 minutes or so, and to see if that's going to translate into any pattern for the racing.
Righto, here's the big one, boys. This is where we really need to think. Everyone, time to pay attention. Supercoach coming into play here. The strategy in the first race will be pretty normal. In the next subsequent elimination races, it does not matter where you finish as long as you don't finish last. I'm expecting some argy-bargy coming into the finish, going around marks. If you're at the back and it's a close run thing, I reckon the umpires are going to be super busy.
Super busy between 5th and 6th.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you're in the play for 5th and 6th and you've got a chance to put someone into the bricks, you have luffing rights, you can put them into a circle, you can do anything. You're going to do it, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so your goal will be just to keep your head down and just be invisible for the first couple of races. So you might win it, that's great, but you just don't want to make any enemies because someone can gang up on you.
Yeah.
You actually don't want to be the favourite going into it either, because if someone has the chance to infringe you at the start, they will take it. But it's like all sailing. You don't want enemies on the course.
That's right.
There's 5 other boats out there who can make your life pretty hard.
So who's the nicest guy out there, Jordan Spencer? Or girl, for that matter?
Well, yeah, that's a good question.
Or the dark
Greg
horse,
Allison.
the one that's going to kind of
Greg
sneak
Allison's
through
the
without
nicest
too
guy.
much notice?
Grego is genuinely the nicest bloke. I think he could be there. I think you could see Fritz and Sandy, you know, they love each other, but they love agitating each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, you know, Ashley, you know, woman scorn, crossed, you know, maybe she could fire up. And the youngsters, both the youngsters, you know.
Do you think the youngsters will go through a little relatively unnoticed, in the sense that, keeping your eye out on your opposition at the start, whether that is a strategic thing or actually it doesn't matter? You've literally 2 other boats on the race course, the one below you and the one above you when you start, and that's sort of who you got to worry about.
Yeah, pretty much. And also crew work issues or breakages. The last thing they want to do is run over a kite or... So they need to be checking their boats now to make sure that the kite hay doesn't untie. So
Absolutely.
That'll be the easiest way to get kicked out of this event is, just a bad kite hoist or do something wrong, you'll be half a leg behind.
Yeah. So we can see a few of the crews now, jibs down, just having a bit of a sail around, bit of a relax, just get their head in the game, because literally, if you're going to make it through, you've got a couple of hours racing here.
Yep. Now, the other thing that comes into play here, mistakes are critical. Penalties will make a huge impact. So you've got to keep your nose clean. So the only time we're going to see agitation or penalties is if it's really deliberate, because people want to get someone out. So a match racing play or two. So who are the best match racers in the field?
Probably from an experience point of view, you'd have to say Robbie Doosan would be there. Done a lot of match racing throughout the years, although not on the international
Grego's
circuit.
done a bit.
Greg's done some back in his day, and I was actually lucky enough to do that with him. And that was only 25 years ago or so. So you reckon he's still got it? And then, of course, Sandy's got the experience, at least on a yearly basis, does a couple of match racing regattas that are held here in SA. But, you know, these young guys and girls, they could...
Depending on their training programs, they could have come up doing all that, you know. So I think that some of those match racing plays might come out. Now, the other thing is when we get to the final, we've got some excellent examples, and we have to go to Sail GP on this. I know I crap on about Sail GP a little bit, but we see a final of 3 boats, and one thing that is coming through quite clearly in the Sail GP is if you can go quiet mode like you're talking about and let the other 2 get into an argy-bargy, you get to sneak off that start and get ahead, and generally the boat that gets least involved in the interaction has been winning up until a few this regatta. But
like there's some easy ways to win the event, and one is start first and just pull ahead and win. That'll be your number one. If you can do that and just clear out 2 boat lengths after the line, just sail away from the rest. But being that 3rd boat is a really powerful position. You just almost have to wait for the other 2 to trip over each other. Do a Steve Bradbury.
Steve Bradbury.
The Bradbury. We haven't heard about the Bradbury coming into sailing, but today we may see it.
Let's hope so.
I reckon we're about 3 to 4 minutes away from the first gun. Remember, a practice race, so no one will be eliminated in this first race. No points carry forward from the qualifying rounds. No points go forward into the actual final race. Nothing to do about point accumulation. It's just how you go in that last race. So the strategy in the final race changes completely from the elimination race, because you go from not wanting to come last to 100% wanting to come first.
That's right, to make it to the top of the podium. And as you mentioned, it's literally the way they finish in that last race is how the podium works out. First, second, third.
That's correct. That's correct. You can see there some potential sailors that may be stuck in basketball. The long legs, the long limbs.
They all look like 470 crews to me.
Yes, they do exactly look like 470. The only thing they're missing is the giant head.
There's only one of them that has that, my friend.
So for our listeners, you want to get, if you want to do the toilet break, now's your time. As we get built up. So, Bicey, from your perspective as the event organiser, the Dockside Festival, this event that we're seeing, you and Harry Fisher, both sailors pulled this together, and all these other events that are ongoing. Success, is it going ahead next year? Is all this thing, the Port Adelaide Enfield Council behind this?
Well, unfortunately, yesterday was pretty warm. In saying that, well, pretty warm as in 36 degrees. So it's a big challenge to take your complete family out for the whole day.
Yep.
But what we're seeing today is a lot of movement along the wharfs, all the way from Harts Mill, all the way down to where we're located here in the Lighthouse Precinct. If it's going ahead next year, I just saw the Mayor. She's very happy with the way things are happening and the way things have turned out. We can't change the weather. As sailors, that's something we know. And we know and appreciate. So let's keep positive. Let's keep it going for everyone.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people around, so I reckon we're in good stead.
Yeah,
Okay.
And going into post-COVID, everyone's coming back from being shell-shocked for the last couple of years. Less so here than my hometown of Melbourne, but things have to reboot again and restart. And so to create a new event in a new venue, it's awesome. It's what's needed.
Yeah. So a question for you, Mark. Can you see this particular area as a place to hold the national titles?
Absolutely. This is exactly
Pacifics?
this stadium sailing, which throws in some extra chance. The sailing, some say it's unfair, but it's not. The best sailors still win.
The best,
But it's
you always see the cream rise, right?
And it's putting it in a venue where the non-sailors, the general public, are coming down for a hot dog or sausage roll eating contest or basketball or the music, the bands, the DJs, and getting exposed to sailing. So this is exactly what the Sailing Championship, Sailing Champions League is about. We've done events in Newcastle, which is really similar to this. So here, Sydney Harbour's got some great opportunities too, but most of the foreshore on Sydney Harbour's private.
Yeah,
you
correct.
can't get to it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the clubs are too.
Yes.
They don't allow the general public in. So taking events to the
public, correct,
is a big step.
Yep.
So interestingly, we laughed and joked about that fire boat coming past and spraying everyone. It managed to get some of the broadcast gear, and we're going to have to go to a 5 to 10 minute delay. We're not going off screen, but the start is being delayed because all our equipment's got wet. We have to get it out. So we have to fill for another few minutes. The other interesting thing, gentlemen, I just went to try and spot the committee boat and the start end of the line, and it is literally, we're going from bridge to bridge.
Oh.
The course is bridge to bridge, so that they've got that start line as close as to the bridge there as possible.
So downwind start.
Downwind start.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So we're going to see that. So
have we had that yet?
In the morning, the evening on Friday, we had downwind starts, and one of the critical things for the viewers to understand in the sailing instructions, it clearly states you must not touch anything to do with your downwind sails. So that's the pole line, the halyard, the sheet, until your whole of your boat crosses that line. So please be aware of that. They're not being slow or slack. They are definitely watching that line, and then they'll hoist. Yeah. So, of course, it's a smart thing in the sailing instructions, because if you get a penalty on the start, you know,
and you've got all the kit in the air.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah, big trouble.
That's a big penalty then.
Yeah.
So that's the logic behind it. But yeah, so the start line, it's bridge to bridge. We're getting the longest possible course. The interesting thing, though, is that there's a lot of air disturbance at that start line.
At that particular bridge.
Yeah, and when you're coming up to the finish, because there'll be an upwind finish, downwind start, upwind finish, it's going to be 2 laps. So down, back upwind, down, back upwind is finished between the gates. So a gate at each end. That means you've got to go between the marks. You can go left or to right. And gate down at the bottom end. And that upwind gate is also the finish. So
I mean, with that bridge as well, there's a couple of massive pylons there.
Massive.
So some big wind shadows. So that in itself is a strategy. It's like you say, upwind, down, well, for the start, plus coming back upwind, and what mark you choose, whether you go left or right.
Yeah. The other thing is the tide flows in. If you do make a mistake or you're late getting your kite down into that, you're finishing upwind, but if you do make a mistake, tide will sweep you in because it compresses around those pylons, so you will get actually a little bit of eddying and a little bit of sucking into them. So, We're lucky we got the best of the best in here.
Yeah, and the format of this course too, with a gate at the top and bottom, just means that we can actually, well, we always try to have the start finish closest to the shore where the crowd is.
Yep.
So if the wind's in whatever direction, it's going to be a windward or windward, upwind or downwind start. But we don't have to change the marks. We can just switch the end, switch the boats to go start at the other end if that's what's required. So it's a new concept. But it also means the race management team isn't out there moving marks all day, which is pretty typical for most race management teams.
So, Mark, tell us, you've sailed for a very long time. Very well accomplished, obviously, gold medal, and recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. But when you first started sailing, it was kind of you got kicked off and go as far away from the shore as possible, right?
Exactly. And even back in the Sabo days or the 420 days, you couldn't see the top mark. So you did the start, you had a compass bearing to where the top mark was, but you had no chance of seeing it. You were sailing to the horizon and doing big triangles. A race might take 2.5, 3 hours, and you did one race a day.
Yeah.
So you do a national championship of 5 days, 5 races.
Yep.
Now we're doing 5 races in an hour.
Yeah, well, yesterday we were seeing races between 7 and 8 minutes long.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's totally different. It's great. It's far more entertaining. The sailors prefer it, I think.
Yeah.
If you want to do long legs, you do some ocean racing. You do a Port Lincoln race,
Yeah, that's right.
Sydney to Hobart.
Yeah.
This is all about 10-minute races and getting as many as we can in and out the door quickly.
So one of the interesting things, just from a commentary perspective, is that our view of the start line is completely blocked by a retro tugboat, I guess is the best way to describe it, with the world's biggest smokestack. So we will have to go off screen, so we don't have a good view of that. We should, Nicholas, be on Caelan Howard's boat. We'd be in the best possible situation.
We would be on the bow of Caelan Howard's boat, ready to call the start.
That would be a perfect scenario for everyone involved.
The commentary might get a bit looser towards
Just
the end of the day.
poking my head up there. Like the literal start line is 50 metres away from that bridge. So
It's exactly right.
Not much room at all. At all.
And so that means that coming in to set up for that start. So yesterday, Bicey, when we were commentating, we saw a lot of aggression, them getting to the line early yesterday. It was upwind starts, though.
Yeah.
They were getting to the line early and being forced over the line. And we noticed as the day went on, they were less inclined to, they were only getting to the line right on time. They were giving themselves as much gap from the line so they couldn't be forced over. Now, the same thing could happen here if you get to the line early, because you're going to cover distance very quickly. That means you've got no runway behind that starting box. So I wonder...
there is going to be a tussle to be that leeward boat,
yes,
I would imagine.
And
because you have the ability then to stop people literally from starting. So coming in, picking your timing, whether it comes up, whether you poke your bow up around the pin and you push people all the way to the end of the line.
Yep.
So that's going to be the critical positioning of who's going to win the start. Or do you let a few of the boats play around doing that and you just come in from windward and cross everyone's bow?
Yeah, and being able to have that first jibe. So we've all sort of learned having the freedom off the start line to have that first tack or take the first shift. Here it's even tighter, so it's a long, narrow course. Whoever's free to do their first jibe.
He's been to the Jordan coaching school, this boy. I love it. No, you're exactly right. The interesting thing, I wondered, gentlemen, how close that... Because to my eye, those marks look so close that if you just tried to luff back up and slow down, you probably wouldn't stop until you hit that bridge. So if you're going to luff up, you're probably going to have to tack. You know, you won't. You might get a small S in, but if you do, you have to make a manoeuvre out. You may have to do a full turn.
Or even starting on the opposite jibe to everyone. So everyone will, 4 boats might be lining up on starboard, all without kites, just rattling in slow to the line. If one boat sits out on port, crosses their sterns, they will have a clear run at it.
I agree, and they'll have the long kite run too. They'll because starboard will bring them straight into this boat that we've got blocking our view, I reckon, and port will get them down almost towards the Birkenhead. So
and we've seen that at some other events. One boat does it, next race 2 boats try it. Then as soon as 3 or 4 do it, then the whole game changes again, that you want to be on the starboard tack to be the odd one out.
I got a suspicion if Fritz or Sandy, one of those two do it, the other will be doing it.
Look, I'll be loving to see the strategies here. Like you mentioned before, it's not about winning just yet. It's about winning the last race. It's all about not coming last. So that's what it's all going to be about. And does that change the mindset of the aggressiveness that most of these sailors have used in the past? Can they change in such short notice and then switch back, or everyone's going to be going for the win?
What about this? This first race, it counts for nothing, right? But you have to do it. You've got to finish. You've got to treat it as a race. But what if you just let everyone come in hard on the start, look at how they're setting up and looking at their tactics and see which works best, and then start last and come down? Do some research.
Bit of R&D, you think?
I do like it, but I've always been like at regattas where there's an invitation race and people have superstitions about you never want to win it.
The invitation,
I've always said in the opposite camp, you want to win every race you can.
You want to demoralise everyone.
Whether it counts or not, you'd rather come out of this and win 5 straight races.
Bounce out,
I don't believe in that superstition of holding back in that first race.
No, it's one that, sailors are quite famous for their superstitions. And that is one only if you come second in the invitation race.
That's right. Well, the other one that the 5-0 fleet has is often at a Nationals. At Nationals it's the 4th place boat. At the Worlds it's 10th place boat. You become the gate boat the next day, right? And so you've got no choice of which you start because you will end up on the right-hand side of the course as the gate boat. So I have witnessed at a Nationals.
A little handbrakey.
Yeah, I've witnessed.
Finish, you reckon?
I may have been the first boat that did that. Oh, we're going to finish 4th here in the invitation race, and under the line, and then the next boat, and then the next boat. I think we got about 24 before we got someone.
The time limit runs out.
It was hilarious, But anyway, that's what gate starts bring. But then no general recalls in the gate start, so we don't have to worry about that, and then we won't have that here today. So that's an important thing. We get to starting technique. You are over the line, you have to turn and do a penalty. You don't go back to the line. So, Mark, I asked you this question last night. This is important because I'm sitting here trying to exploit the sailing instructions in my mind. If I'm a competitor, I get a penalty. I've got to just do a 360 if I'm over the line. So, hey, I'm going at the 1 minute. And I'm a minute down the track. Oh, I've got my penalty. I'll just do my turn, and I'm still 50 minutes in front.
No, the umpires are all over that.
Black flag.
So basically, you have to start, and that is that you have to appear to have the intention of starting the race legally. So if you're halfway down the line,
first run,
the umpires they won't look too favourably on that. And they've also got the power to keep giving you penalties until they think you've actually
exonerated.
So they will keep you spinning until you're dizzy. And plus, they would probably even do more than that. You might be out for the... If it was that obvious and you just were halfway down the course. So unfortunately, there's always that loophole that someone exploits once and then the rules catch up with them.
Sure. Had you witnessed that in your time at all, Mark?
No, not that
Anyone
one.
exploited, or?
There was a good one back when I was a young kid. So roll tacking in a sabo and all those.
Yeah.
When there's no wind, the only way to move a laser or a single-handed boat forward is roll tack.
Sure.
The only way you could legally do it was in a tactical thing. So if you're in a tacking duel with another boat, you could roll tack your way around the whole course.
Yeah.
And I've seen, or maybe witnessed, or maybe participated in that.
Sure.
Before, but I think they've closed that loophole probably a good 20 or 30 years ago. Where 2 boats just tack their way around the course and finish a lap
launch.
ahead.
Exactly.
So I'll just say that we're very, 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 very close to getting underway. I'm looking at all the guys. One of our technical staff just gave me that nod. Okay, so let's talk about rules. Given that the start's going to be so critical and we've got such a small area, do you have right to fit in and around the mark, or can you force someone outside the gate? So if you're luffing, somebody's trying to fit in, and you can't call boy room in a start line.
No, there's no proper course, and to be honest, I'm the wrong person to ask on this. I haven't raced.
Okay.
I'm probably still working on rules that we've written.
Lucky you didn't get any protests at the Olympics, mate.
Master Bean, you reckon?
So I'd be out there yelling out some rules that don't exist anymore, I think. So,
I've made that mistake in the past, but yeah, we've all done that. But no, those, so no right to boy room at a start, mate.
No.
So you can be squeezed out and off. So that is it can be very, very difficult. I'm really certain that we will see some of the match racing tricks come into that finish as well. We'll see little luffs that try and push people out to the side of the marks and then make each other follow in, or push people over to lay lines and lock them in behind. There'll be all that sort of stuff.
Especially in that bottom half of the fleet, to try and push that last position.
Yeah, if you've got some really good match racing skills and you're confident, you could try to take out your most feared opposition.
Absolutely.
In one of the elimination rounds. It's a big risk because one bad tack and you've gone from 5th in a controlling covering position to being 6th and out of the event. So, yeah, it'd be a gutsy move, but good to see.
Okay.
It's almost a bit of teams racing tactics coming in here, in this sort of stuff.
So we're saying 3 CYC boats.
Well, I'm not saying anything.
Well, you're the Commodore. What's going on?
Well, I actually gave the guys and girls a bit of a brief this morning. And we've taken on a new mantra down there, but we've got to win at all costs, so no, not at all.
No, well, you can't teams race in these events. That actually, the umpires will get you for that. So that is part of it. One thing I find interesting, gentlemen, with the three of us here, very experienced sailors, all been doing it for a long time. We're sitting here happily analysing every nth degree of what could be happening. So, you know, and that's sailing. It's that deep analytical elements. There's so much to it. It's the technical setup of the rig, the fitness, the strength, and then all this strategy that we're running. We're like a Formula One team in one person.
Yeah.
You explain it so well, Jordan.
And I'm not sure, and I'm pretty sure it's the same here, but there's no coaches at this event.
Yeah, no
So,
coach,
and
mate.
that's something we've said across the other events, that you can send your team, but there is no on-water coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is just the sailors on the water making it up as they go. So it's which is good because you turn up to some regattas and there's more coach boats than there are competitors.
Go to the average regatta these days and the coach boats are worth more than all the boats put together.
Yep.
So what we're seeing now is
I think we've been
jibs are
pretty-
going back up.
I think we may have.
And
I
we're
just-
into a sequence,
Yeah, I was just
2
gonna
minutes
say,
40 to go.
I thought I heard a horn, so I think we're into it. We're ready. Now, this is one thing you can, if you look at the screen, you can see most of them are down and below the box on the course side of the start line. That bridge is very, very close. So there's very little runoff room. We'll have a drone shot in a minute that'll give you some idea of it's probably 2.5 boat lengths between the start line and that bridge.
Yeah, that drone shot, if we can get that up, is amazing. It actually does show exactly what's happening as they all circle around before the start.
So, or we can just get it gone completely. That's all right.
2 minutes to go, counting down, as the viewers can see on their screen at home.
Okay, so just a reminder, boat 1 is skippered by Greg Allison. Boat 2 is Sandy's boat. Boat 3 is Carter Higgins. Boat 4 is Robbie Jewson or Fritz. Boat 5 is Ashley Emery. And then boat 6 is Ben Hicks. Okay?
Just a little one there, Carter Baker,
What did I say?
as opposed to, and Sandy Higgins. So, for those at home, but that's Cruising Yacht Club, Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club, Boat 2, Boat 3, Cruising Yacht Club, Boat 4, Cruising Yacht Club, Boat 5, Largs Bay Sailing Club, Boat 6, Brighton and Seacliff.
Now, yesterday in the afternoon, we saw Sandy was really, really dominant. He did a fantastic job. He was sailing boat 2.
Oh, so,
okay.
yeah. Were you there to witness the draw?
Carter was also sailing boat 3 in his round. Greg Allison was sailing boat 1 in his round.
All right, here we go. 1 minute to go, team.
That's a great memory to actually.
Robbie Jewson wasn't sailing boat 4, but that was the one Blackers was sailing, who was going so well. So I'm intrigued. So yeah.
All right. We're down to 40 seconds now, so they're all doing their final lineup.
So most of them are setting up on starboard for the little bear away. No one's going for your little play at the moment, mate.
Not yet. They're just sitting back and waiting.
My analysis at the moment, they're all very early.
Here we go. So that first mark you can see next to the boats is the right-hand side of the line as you look up, looking upwind, and then what we'd call the pin, and then the committee boat line, that other mark towards that side. The far mark is the side we're sitting on, and we refer. Here they all go, reaching in, looking for someone for a jibe, or they're just going to turn down this boat, the boat coming in last.
Boat number 5, Ashley Emery.
Yep, has the real opportunity to do a turnout, but is late. And we are away. So we're just watching on a tiny screen at the moment. We'll get them popping kites in a sec. The red kite, the white kite. It looks like a French flag happening, Bitey.
The French flag, yes, as we alluded to yesterday. So poor hoist from boat number 4, was it? From Largs Bay.
I see, that's Robbie Jewson.
Okay, we can see them come past now. And it's unlike the Sail GP where they all line up and hit it at 50 knots.
Yes.
These are slow boats, so they can all just rattle in there really tight together.
Okay, so Benny Hinks is closest to the wall here. He leads in boat 6. CYC boat is then, we've got Robbie Jewson in boat 4. We've got Sandy in boat 2. Who's that in there? Boat 3 has come around. Oh, that's Carter Baker. So the youngsters are right here. So Carter and Benny are there, and the 2 oldies, and then back at the end is Ash and then Grego. So we've got age versus youth, and
Definitely age versus youth. So Cruising Yacht Club South Australia with Robbie Doosan holding that starboard advantage, so none of the other boats can jibe at this point in time. Yep. But then we got Sandy Higgins. So Robbie Doosan's actually jibed. He's going to cross the stern.
Behind. Oh!
Sandy.
The big laugh, the nervous laugh. So what Sandy's done is he's just positioned himself really nicely. He's got rights coming through here, and he's going to jibe back so he can lock in those rights. So when they get down to that gate, he's all smooth. He's just playing a low-risk game. But again, this race, no one will be eliminated from here.
Yeah. The 2 boats with the white kites, they were first and second clearly, but just from positioning on the course,
and we'll see Robbie Doosan. Robbie Doosan coming back in boat number 4, holding that starboard position, and he's carried some nice pressure down. So I think we'll see him holding the advantage to start with.
So he's come back across on starboard, crossed the fleet. Whether or not he's lined up the gate, it'll be interesting to see.
The other thing that was interesting, yesterday Robbie and Sandy were in the same boats but had red kites. Today they've got blue kites. So, okay. Just whether there's no superstition on those boats.
So right-hand mark for Cruising Yacht Club and Robbie Doosan.
Yep.
They're sailing very flat into that mark though, so quite slow.
That left mark looking upwind, or the top of the screen, looks pretty good, looks slightly more favoured at the moment.
This will be interesting to see. We've got 2 boats, one going left, one going right.
So that's Sandy leading out of the bottom of the screen there, he's boat 2. And Fritz leading out of the top of the screen, boat...
Unfortunately, a bad drop for Ashley Emery in boat number 5. And that's going to cost her...
Now this is interesting, like there's good pressure on the bottom, the boats on the bottom of the screen. It looks like those 4 boats that went to the top of the screen off the left mark have gone into a little less pressure at the moment. It looks like Sandy's probably going to gain back and tack back. I didn't pick up, can you pick up who's the second boat in that? Sandy tacks back, looking to cross the fleet. I'm pretty certain.
So it's Ben Hinks who's just gone behind Ben Hinks on Brighton and Seacliff.
So the 2 Brighton and Seacliff
boats went to the right.
Which is interesting because Brighton and Seacliff, as we discussed yesterday, is probably the most shifty and phasey yacht club on the Adelaide coastline. It tends to be a left-hand track here, but it phases not at Brighton. It's a little bit more play in the game down at Brighton. The first to get the continental sea breeze later in the afternoon.
Just had a port starboard between 2 rivals, Sandy Higgins and Robbie Doosan.
Yep. It started out like we expected.
Yep.
Exactly like we expected.
Yeah,
Good pressure.
You can't tell this is a practice race. I think they're all just racing hard, aren't they?
So one of the things I think is going to be the biggest influence on the race, one is the rules play, see how close everyone is, but 2, the crew work. You make 1 mistake, you're going to drop 3 boats because everyone is very, very, very close.
And speaking of that, I think the boat that was in last is now doing a penalty as well. So,
boat number 5, Largs Bay, with Ashley Emery. Maybe she hit the mark at the bottom. We're not too entirely sure.
So you'd assume they'll just keep racing because they don't know what... They've still another whole lap and a half to go on this.
Oh, a lot of ducks,
so
I tell you.
Boat number 4
is Fritz.
Is Robbie Doosan has just ducked the stern of Sandy Higgins to head back straight up the middle of the track. So this is where that pressure's going to count, Jordan.
Yep. Big gust Sandy just hooked, and he's lifted, and the probably get a knock. But oh man, this is fantastic. Like this is going to be the final, you'll have these boats this close coming into that last race, and it could be decided on a tack right at the finish line. Very strategic play going on here, but it's Sandy and Juice pulling to the front. So the wise and old legends coming to the play. Benny Hinks coming up in the boat 6. He's just going to be sitting in 5th. We've got Grego, another one of the wise. So it's age versus youth at the moment, and the age is winning, which is not a sentence you hear very often.
No, it is early in the day though, so they'll get tired.
So boat 3 is Carter Baker just tacking there on screen. Now we've got the overhead shot. So that is Rob Jewson just tacking back. Boat 4 looking pretty comfortable, and they're looking to that lay into that left mark at the top.
Of which it looks like they'll do and go straight jibe set.
Yep. Sandy will tack across and go to the other mark. So Fritz has made the gain, just going up that inside, and Fritz turns down Kite Horse now. So he's first around, and then Sandy will split to the other side and be the second boat around.
Oh, they've lost their halyard.
Okay.
Robbie, CYC, boat number 4. There it goes, it's back up in the air.
And the other great thing about this format, with the gate top and bottom, it gives the boats following a chance to separate. It's not just follow the leader. If the leader goes around the left gate, you go around the right gate.
It's very interesting because
plenty of pressure coming down along the wharf here.
It is difficult. Like Sandy's just come around that other mark, and his kite's not working at all.
Some might say there's a bit of wind coming out of the commentary booth.
I think their tack line hasn't worked. There we go. They've got their tack line back on. So I think what you'll see is somebody goes up onto the bow on the red kite there, and their tack line not. That's Rob Jewson, boat number 4 in shot. He's pushing right in front of the commentary booth as we speak. As you see that shot, he's come over to say good day. He wanted to be interviewed. He's gone for the bar karate reverse curse. So if you
came in for a quick interview,
yeah, so you can lock it in, because everyone that comes on bar karate has success. They have we call it the reverse curse these days. So he's got a nice cap now. He'd be pretty happy just comfortably matching the fleet.
And boat number 2 with their problems has actually slowed up the boats that were 3rd and 4th. Yep. So they're actually struggling to get past.
Boat 1 is Greg Allison, and he'll be happily going over the top of Sandy and telling him about it in the nicest possible way. It's good. This is great. Look,
Carter Barker holding starboard advantage too, so probably locking both Brighton and Seacliff and CYC out. And there's a
big gust. Oh, we got a broach. We got a broach. Oh, the wall's coming into play here. Oh, that wall's coming into play. That is Greg Allison. Grego, what have you done, son?
Wow,
he's a tiny human being. He can't balance the wind.
He got a little close there, but as sailing operations manager at the CYC, there's only one person to answer to, and that's himself.
Oh, Fritz has just got a booming gust. He's got that gust now. It's just scooting down. Sandy's jibed on, and he's going to go the opposite side, I think.
All right, so Carter Barker jibing across now.
I tell you what.
In front of Greg Allison.
I'm just going to say, Sandy's jibes have been shocking. Absolutely shocking. But it doesn't matter. Nothing matters in this one.
Jibs back up. Robbie Dawson, Cruising Yacht Club, going around the bottom left-hand mark.
Yep. So just a nice clean rounding. They've got plenty of time. They've still got what, 8-10 boat length lead?
There's the mark rounding for you. So boat 4 and then a compression, 3 boats right next to each other. Inside position will go to Brighton and Seacliff, team 1. And then, as you said, Mark, they get to jibe off and go and separate so they can make a move and make a play. And that separation, that boat heading out to the left, looks like it's gone into some pressure. Yeah. They get their boat going.
It just makes it really hard. If you're on the boat in first, there's automatic separation, so you can't just put a close cover on the boat that's second.
Yeah.
So you just have to wait for the boat in third to come around. They're the only one you can cover.
Yep.
So we're seeing a bit more breeze now, guys, and it's just flicked a little bit to the right, which means we're actually getting a bit more breeze in our booth. You can't see it at home, but we're actually standing up holding our rooftop on. But gives us a better view of the racecourse as well.
Yep.
So what that means, if it does go a little bit right, that'll mean that Robbie Dawson on the CYC will protect the right-hand side.
Okay, so just if we had to look at form at the moment, going into the first elimination race, Ash Emery who did so well the other day, is looking at risk at the moment. She's just a little bit back off the back of the fleet. Everyone else has sort of been flicking in, but she had a penalty turn, didn't she? So that's what's dropped her back. So everyone else been right next to each other up until that. And so that probably proves my point about penalty turns are going to be critical.
Exactly. No one else has made any big errors or mistakes. So, and when you're in that position, you're last, there's no catching up unless someone else makes a mistake.
Yeah, so you've got, unless you can take a massive risk and fly, maybe put the engine on.
Yep.
So we're going to see everyone's compressed again. So Robbie had quite a big lead, but that he's just coming across on port, his boat number 4 that's in your screen at the moment. He's crossing the other boat, but everyone's right back. There's only a couple of boat lengths between everyone, and as you said, Mark, it's really, really, really hard to cover the whole fleet. And so he has had to split. He has got the fleet in his pocket now. He's sitting on top of everyone, and absolutely does have them covered.
Yeah, I just don't. You can't be comfortable in, even if you're winning and leading the race, you can't be comfortable in these conditions because one gust, you could lose 20 metres instantly.
And it's not like it's a gusty venue.
Noticed sailing towards the wharf here that Sandy's managed to sail that high mode.
Yep.
And Robbie just dropped in on him a little bit. Sandy's coming right in against the wharf. But you'd almost say that Deuce is laying the finish as it is at the moment.
So, interestingly, having sailed many, many years with both Deuce and Sandy, and Sandy's older brother Malcolm was the master of the high mode, and he used to be the master of the high mode. And I suspect that that conversation, Sandy's always been one of the best boat handlers I've ever sailed with, but definitely... I know Malcolm used to have that over Sandy, and now I'd say Sandy's he's in his 50s now. He's had plenty of time to practice. Here we go. So we've got a nice. So we've got the 2 leaders, and right behind we've got a cross. We've got Grego in boat 1, and then Carter Baker. It's Baker or Barker?
Baker.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get these parents upset. Oh, massive knock.
Big header.
Massive switch. So the leaders are going through. So Fritz is crossing through that finish line. Just behind that, the 2 boats behind have just been hit by a massive knock. And it hasn't happened to the trailing boat of Ben Hinks yet. He just got hit now. So
it is amazing. You can be like 2 boat lengths apart and stay in separate wind for a good 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see.
Well, here's a perfect finish. Here's a finish aggression that'll come out.
Being held out past the ley line.
Yep.
Keeping in mind, this means absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, Ashley Emery's struggling a little bit at the back of the fleet, but it's a practice race.
Yeah, the boat in shot there is Ben Hinks, the boat 2 of Brighton and Seacliff. Just in front of them, the 3rd and 4th boat. We did have the boat in 4th had hooked an inside overlap on the boat in 3rd and wouldn't let them tack, and boat in 3rd gave them a good solid luff, which is the only response that you really have, and you can go head to wind without tacking, so you're not breaking any rules by doing that. And then the other boat had to tack, and then they had the inside position. So they played it perfectly, exactly how you can do it. And yeah, we've got a great performance spread out towards the end, but boy, oh boy, very interesting. So that means now, as we watch boat 5 sailing up to the finish line, so that is Ashley Emery sailing with Finlay Bunt, Tabitha Green, Stevenson, and Rachel Hutchko.
Yep, and there's nothing wrong with their boat. Everything looks.
They had a penalty turn.
A penalty turn, then they
they had a couple of bad spinnaker drops, and then that penalty turn obviously cost them. And then
they
once you fall out of favour, you can't really get back.
And there's nothing to lose on this one. You might as well just cruise around and watch everyone else and pick up some hints on which side to go.
I'm looking forward to this now, gentlemen. This is all on. This is what's coming up next, is the elimination races. Can you imagine the pressure? Can you imagine what they're thinking? You know, like if you have a bad start, like you're thinking you're going to win this, and then you get a bad start race 2, which is the first elimination race. How does your mind handle that? You know,
what's the discussion going on board now? Is it that aggressive nature again, or is it sailing clean?
I think it's sailing clean at this point.
Yeah.
And just leave that aggression till the very last race.
Yeah, yeah.
But everyone sails differently, don't they? So being aggressive suits some people. They just have to go for the win every time, or the port tack start, or do something different. But now it's probably not the time to try that when it only has to go wrong once.
So we're probably not far away from kicking into the finals of the Maughan Thiem SA Sailing League, gents.
Yeah, we've got enough time to go and jump in one of those Everest or the Ranger over there, and gee, they're looking comfortable. They're flash new rides, those things, aren't they?
If it gets any windier or rainier, we might just do the commentary from inside, I think.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so there's our boat list. Cruising Yacht Club, South Australia Team 2 is Greg Allison. Brighton Seacliff Team 1, Sandy Higgins. Team 3 from CYCA is Carter Baker. Cruising Yacht Club Team 1, Robbie Jewson, Largs Bay, Ash Emery, and Brighton Seacliff Team 2, Benny Hinks.
So what do we learn from that race?
What we learned is it's
Mistakes.
getting windier. They need to keep an eye out on these little bullets. They can be your best friend or your enemy. They're definitely your best friend if you're going downwind and you can go faster than everyone else. They're your enemy, though, if you're driving straight into one. And we saw that a couple of times. We saw a few little wipeouts. One by Robbie Deuce, one by Greg Allison. And then upwind, depends which side you are on it. If you're on the right side of it, or the preferable side, it's going to give you a nice little lift up. But if you get that header...
And it almost appeared that there's more of the gains and losses were probably upwind.
Yes.
Like downwind, it happens so quickly. If you don't make a mistake with the kite handling, you'll probably get pushed down to the mark in a nice gust. And tactically, it's pretty simple. Upwind, there's
a few little lanes, absolutely.
The other thing I think that I noticed, off that start, the boats that could control and set up to get across onto that port jibe first got away from the fleet. So Sandy was to leeward of the fleet sailing low and slow, but he had the control. They couldn't go past him. He had
starboard advantage, correct.
So Fritz did the big wind up to get behind him, and he got out to the left. Then Sandy went with him, got out to the left, and then they controlled starboard coming back in, and were in clean air with the long jibe on port with clean wind.
Yeah, and if you're in the top 3 at that first mark, the race is easier. Like, you are controlling. You don't have to win it. But if you're in that top 3, you're looking pretty good. It's
easy being us. We should be winning this. Why aren't we in the fleet?
Straight to the stage, you reckon?
Straight to the stage. Yes. We've done that joke a few times on Barcarati, I think. The challenge. Just award ourselves the prize. Now, as we said, we can't see the start from our position at the moment, but the other thing is everyone came in on starboard and did the turn down start. The ones that came in late, which was Ash, she ended up, everyone was running away, so they missed the timing, everyone was running away.
We've got a boat breakage, so there's a bit of delay.
Okay. So it sounds like we just got a little signal that there's been a boat breakage, so we need to fix something before we can start the next race.
How's the Commodore of the club supplying the boats feel about that?
Oh, I'm fine. The more carnage, the better from my side of things. If it's obviously just a generic breakage, that's one thing. But a little argy-bargy, I'm more than up for that.
Great.
It's like buying a new four-wheel drive or a new Ford Everest for that matter.
Yeah.
You don't want to drive it. You need to go and get it scratched on day one.
Bossy, can I ask, you're Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia, which is quite a major club. Would you consider yourself a standard, normal Commodore?
Oh, probably a little unorthodox, I would think.
What, being a white, ageing male?
Look, things have changed a lot in yacht clubs. Traditionally in the past, a Commodore or someone senior in the yacht club is very well established business person, probably a bit more in their twilight era, let's say.
Are you telling us something?
No, dynamics are changing. One, I'm not a very well-established business person. No, but dynamics are changing in clubs, and that not in those, well, let's say 20, 30 years ago, people spent a lot more time at yacht clubs than they do now. So that's always a bit of a challenge. So there needs to be multiple offerings on site. And as for what the volunteer roles look like, they are forever changing as well. And that is what the Commodore of the Cruising Yacht Club is. It's a volunteer role. But something I do like to do is bring that bit of a youth enthusiasm, culture, just build that culture, and just remind everyone it is just a yacht club.
It is just a yacht club. It's just a yacht race.
We're there to have fun with it. We're there to use the great tools that we have and be able to put on great regattas like this.
Okay, so once I was on a trip with some friends of mine, and they said, "Oh, we should have lunch at a waterside restaurant." That's all they wanted. This whole group. They're going, "We need to go and find. Look, we're in another country. We should go and find a restaurant on the water and have lunch." And I said, "Well, let's just go to the yacht club." And they said, "Oh, you can't just go to a yacht club." And I said, "Of course you can." That's something you really want to emphasise, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, it's a bit of a perception that yacht clubs are a bit of a gated community. And of course it doesn't help by having these big gates out the front of yacht clubs. And it's a bit of to say that now as the time's over, it's actually to do something about it is what needs to be done. So I know a lot of yacht clubs that are gated, they now leave their doors wide open, especially when they have a hospitality offering. But that's what it's all about, inviting people in. Like I said, you need to offer something not something just for the members, but also for the general public as well, to come down and experience something that your friends probably experienced, Jordan, which was a fantastic time in one of the best venues you can find.
Yeah, because yacht clubs are sitting on prime real estate. They're beachfront. They're beautiful spots to spend time at.
Absolutely.
That need to be open to more people.
And it's actually, for those that are listening and watching, is listening and watching as members of yacht clubs, we're also responsible for welcoming people through the door, because you never know, they could be the next Commodore of that yacht club, in the sense that they'll get there, they like the vibe of it, they become a volunteer. Next thing you know, they could see themselves in there as a flag officer or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Do you like wearing the whites?
Oh, I enjoy the whites. I probably wear it more often than no.
Does your wife like you wearing the whites?
It's a bit of a tradition, but it's something that a tradition that should be upheld, because a lot of traditions aren't upheld these days. So, and you can kind of say, "Oh, what's this about? What's that about?" But there's a lot of traditions, superstitions, and stuff in yacht clubs, and wearing the whites for official occasions is one of those.
So. We know that there are quite a few yacht clubs that are tuning in and putting this on their yacht club screens and we say g'day to all those yacht clubs and sailing clubs out there. So welcome and give us a shout out if you are. How can people give us a shout out?
Well, those that you can either send in to the feed that you're watching, whether it is on YouTube or on Facebook, from whatever platform that may be. Just send us a message. That'll get to us, and we're sure to give you a shout out.
Okay, 2.5 minutes till the start. We've got everything underway. It is good.
The first elimination.
This is it.
Can it be won and lost?
So
Probably can't be won at the start, but it can certainly be lost.
For our friends watching, if you look on the screen there at the top, you can see a big white powerboat moored up. That is the boat we're referring to where we should have been sitting to do the commentary from, because how well placed is that?
It is.
I slept on there last night, so I don't know.
You wouldn't have had to get out of bed. Just,
exactly right.
Just commentary rolling out there.
Commentary from the bed. Now that would be just wonderful. Okay, so now I'm wondering, my friend, are we going to see the splits? Now's the time. Will we see the splits? People starting on port. It won't be long till we see it.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see something similar to that last race. Like, they'll probably get 1 or 2 races of getting into a pattern before they realise there's another way.
1 minute 30.
I don't know if you guys can see in the other shots that the cameras have got, but that DJ on stage is just having a grand old time.
She's been up there for like
having
3 hours.
Silent party.
And look at it go. She's going off.
It's like some aerobics.
Oh, she's on screen. There she is.
All right, 1 minute 10 to go.
Bit of aha play.
Yeah,
so.
And she was totally into it. I love it. All right, sorry for the distraction. Just coming up to the 1 minute.
Can we say how good it is to have music happening in the back of a regatta, though?
Yeah,
More regattas should have music.
Yeah, I agree. Jeez, I loved it.
All right, so all boats heading to the right-hand side.
That means we're going to see a similar start.
Very similar start.
Yep.
Remembering 40 seconds to go in the last race, everyone had lined up.
So, for those
at the time, you did say they were probably about 20 seconds early too.
So for those who don't know the rules, so the wind coming over your right-hand side means you're on starboard, and starboard has right of way on port. But a boat to leeward or below someone furthest away from the wind has rights over the boat to windward. So,
so now we're at 20 seconds to go.
That means the boats coming in last can luff the fleet.
10 seconds. Not bad here. They're lining up. No one's going to be early.
Oh, yep. Oh, yep. Great start. Here we go. Big
start,
turn down.
Well.
There's a gap there on that mark.
I think they were a bit more conservative with that one too.
Much
more there's
conservative.
something on the line this time.
Yep. Benny Hinks, the two former crewmates on the bottom end of the line there. Benny Hinks in boat 6, and then Carter Baker with a great set there. And the blue kites are Sandy and Juice.
And as they come across
Sandy
in
leads.
front of us at the central commentary position, we got boat number 2, Sandy Higgins. Boat number 1, Greg Allison, leading the fleets down.
Yep. And they're all sailing deep at the moment, so they're all trying to get down on top of each other. They might even make through to the gate at this angle.
Sailing out of pressure too at the moment, so if a gust does come, all the back markers are going to come straight over the top, as we just saw Grego go over the top of Sandy.
Yeah, number 4 is coming through with pace now.
I was going to say Sandy either has to jibe or luff.
Yep.
And he jibes. There we go. He's just put the jibe in. And we've got and also Benny Hinks. So the Brighton boats are both on port. The rest of the fleet heading down on starboard. We've got a jibe out at the front just coming.
Greg Allison has jibed across.
Yep. Sandy coming
And
back on starboard. Here we go with a clear lane.
CYC, Robbie Doosan has drived and gone across the back of the entire fleet.
Yep.
So we should see the red kite coming is Sandy Higgins from Brighton Seacliff, and then Ben Hinks with the white behind him. They've got clear air now, so they jibed out of that situation, and they've just forced Greg Allison to go. And Ben Hinks is just taking the air from Sandy. I reckon you might hear some. Oh, that's just a gust hitting that fleet. Oh, there we go. Ash Emery on screen, the mainly female crew, just getting their stuff sorted out. So remember, this is elimination.
Yeah, I'm thinking number 4 will do quite well out of this. They were, let's say, second last at the time, but now they've come through with some clear wind.
Good pressure and holding that starboard advantage coming into the bottom gate.
A lot of jibes. There's a lot of jibes. People are really fighting for those spots. So the fleet, you can see on the downwind, even if you're in the lead, you're never in the lead because they're taking all your pressure. Sandy's really struggling to keep those boats. He's got a little bit of a clear lane now, and he's going to go to that left mark as you look upwind. The left of screen as you look at it. He's going to have a nice clear lane into that. The pressure is coming back at there. Who we got? Boat 5, I think, which is Ash Emery, and boat 3, I reckon, which is Carter Baker, were probably the 2 at risk at the moment.
Yeah, and it's all just compressed a bit too. They've all slowed down as they got to the gate, and I think this format does that, where they actually start going downwind, then they all compress when they get to that bottom gate, and it makes it tight again.
Oh, there's a luffing match on.
Inside overlap. Oh, look at that.
No, boat number 6 had no room there.
Penalty
so
turn.
They got forced out.
Okay, so this comes into play. So the 2 boats at the end there were...
Interestingly, everyone that jibed out and went left downwind got the advantage.
Yep.
Which is what we forecast, wasn't it?
Well, let's just say we did, yes.
Yeah, well, I know it. I said it.
Comments from the Super Coach.
Massive ego. Got a big head. Got to have a big ego. Okay, so just driving up. This is again, the boats in the front are not stressed. They're just doing loose covers. That's what they're thinking. They've got a nice lane. They're quite lifted on port currently.
Yep, the majority of the time will be on this, starboard tack? Or sorry, port tack?
The boat right out to the right in that bottom, the top of the screen there is not going upwind super well.
It's
That could be
Carter Baker.
There could be something wrong for him.
Boat number 3.
He's low and
I think they had a bit of trouble with their kite getting it down. They were still halfway up as they rounded the mark.
I think they've just got settled now as we look. So if you can see them on screen, or they're right in the top of screen there, and they've just tacked.
And it probably gets quite shallow on that hard right-hand side.
Yeah, they very quickly as well. So you're either all clear or bang, you've got it. There's nothing no sliding up the ramp, let's say.
It's just like a rental car. You just keep going until you feel it touch.
So Sandy Higgins, Brighton and Seacliff, boat number 2, has just stepped out a little there, just picking the right shifts. He's a tactical genius, Sandy, so that doesn't surprise me at all.
Interesting, lots of jibes in that downwind and then very few tacks upwind. They're just minimising mistakes now upwind.
Okay, so the interest is back at... So Ash Emery's just split off. She, as I said, it's Carter Baker and Ash Emery, the boats at risk. Ash just took a big knock to get away from the fleet, and now she's coming back in, maybe on a lift. I think she may actually gain from that. She took a big knock to get there, but I think she's actually going to come back and cross in front of Carter Baker.
Nice little lefty there, and she will cross ahead in front of Carter Baker.
That's it. But so she took a knock to get there, but of course the other guys have to sail a longer knock now to get back.
And I like how in this format, our focus has turned from the boats that are at first and second. Now we're looking at the boats that are coming 5th and 6th.
We don't have to worry about those old blokes at the front, right?
Fritz. In fact, it is the old 3 in front again.
Here we go. Keep an eye on boats 1 and 6 here.
Oh, now there's a whistle.
Flag.
Greg Allison and Ben Hanks.
Oh. So we're going to find out if you do hit the land. Now, of course, if you're a non-sailor, you can claim water if you think you're going to hit the ground, and you can force the other boats to tack, which is what has just happened. And we've got the same situation going on here. And I think we're about to see a cover. Ash is going to throw a cover on Carter. So 5th is covering 6 really, really hard right now.
Absolutely.
And it's a perfect cover too. So if you're at Largs Bay and you're cheering, she's throwing a perfect cover on. We're on focused in on boat 6 and 1. So 1 is Greg Allison and Benny Hinks is boat 6. So they're coming up. They've got another 100 metres to that top mark. And you can see you'll come into shot right there. Boat 5 and 3 are coming right in the middle of that. So that Ash has just got straight into that mix.
Yep, and although that's hurting number 5, there's now 3 boats effectively covering boat number 3. So it's really dirty wind and tough for them.
Now, there's going to be a bit of traffic heading downwind here.
And look at that straight away. So
Sandy Higgins, boat number 2, first hoist. Robbie Doosan, boat number 4, Cruising Yacht Club, going around the opposite mark and going to be shooting down alongside the compression alongside the wharf here.
Carter Baker absolutely tacked immediately, and Ash was straight on top of it. He's tacking again. You can just see in the top of your screen there, and Ash straight on top of that. She'll get the clean lay into that mark, but that will compress. They will close right up. And then, of course, once it switches roles going downwind, then she will be covered by Carter. So this is going to be all on for the elimination, the turn down from those guys.
Yep, it'll only take one gust to actually change it.
So Fritz in shot, there's your sister doing a lot of work on that kite sheep, Bicey. Fritz in shot, he's a little separated behind Sandy. One thing, if you are on the water sailing against this guy on screen, he's good for the banter.
Unfortunately, he's not close enough to anyone at the moment to really let that banter go, but we might give him a little shout out in between races, get a bit closer to the wharf, shall we?
Okay, so I will say Ash and Carter have gone to that left screen looking upwind, but the other 2 boats went to the opposite screen, so Grego and Benny Hinks, and they're in a hole there. They're in a hole.
Unfortunately, Ashley Emery has
sneaking past,
fallen out there a little bit.
So they're currently 3rd. So the female team +1, the Largs Bay team, has crept past. So the boats that went to the right top mark.
So boat number 6 in 3rd is Ben Hanks.
Oh, sorry,
followed
boat 5.
by Greg Allison in boat number 1, and
I got it wrong.
Carter Baker is currently in that very important 5th position.
Yeah. My apologies, listeners. I saw the number wrong. So Ash is boat number 5, which is the red kite, which is at the end. On screen, we've got Benny Hinks in the white kite there. So that is third and fourth, just fighting for that spot. So nothing's been decided.
No, but this is exactly what number 5 would have wanted, for the wind to die on this downwind leg. Hopefully, for their sake, there'll be fresh wind coming from behind and they can bring it through the fleet with them.
Starting to get a little inkling there, isn't she? And there's going to be a bit of separation between her and Carter, and that's what she wants. She wants complete separation. Fortunately, going off the last downwind leg, that left-hand side downwind was where the advantage stood.
What she needs right now is a pressure and a lift.
Nice pressure header to get all the way down.
Well, I was going to say lift, then she can jibe and header and have it all the way. But the other guy, if there is a header, then both three will get it as well. But it looks like Ash is running down quite nicely, and it hasn't got across to Carter yet. This is tense. Can you know that the Largs Bay Sailing Club, you know that Carter's family, you know that everyone involved are tense right now.
Very tense. They'll be watching down there, and Carter's parents will be on the dock cheering him on.
Yep.
Hopefully, cheering everyone on.
Okay, there's the boats are in third and fourth. I think they're trying to tangle up with each other at the moment, which is the last thing they need to do.
Ben Hanks has got a bit on here coming into the bottom mark. They've got their spinnaker wrapped around the forestay. Are they going to be able to get their jib up? This could be
a disaster.
The difference.
Yes.
Jibing back to try and free it.
Oh, you want that left mark. You want that left mark.
All right, jib going up. The spinnaker's still wrapped.
So if you were looking at the screen, you want that mark on the right of screen there. That's definitely the one, because there's a big left-hand shift coming down the course at the moment.
Yep. Now it looks like they've got their kite down.
So Ben Hanks rounds at the same time as Greg Allison. So boats are heading back up when we've seemingly forgot about the first and second position.
We don't know who they are.
Slow rounding for Ashley, and we've got boat number 1 of Greg Allison coming back this way.
On screen was Sandy, and now we've just cut back to the rest of that fleet, and we've got the compression with the last 4 are all coming together. You can see on screen that it's all to play for here. This will be brutal going upwind. There'll be tacks on tacks. So that boat coming in the bottom has right of way, but they wanted to stay to the right of the fleet. They've made that decision. And so what will happen by tacking there, they've kept their nose forward, and when they need to tack near the finish line, they'll be coming in on starboard, so they'll have right of way. So
yeah, that was a really smart move. Rather than engage, they just plant themselves in front of the boat that's in last. You just minimise the mistakes. They didn't want to get involved with the boats ahead of them.
Third, fourth, fifth are very close. So it's who's going to, how do they position themselves in that regard?
And here we go. We got a port starboard for first and second. Right. Oh, big knock, big lift.
No.
Fritz
nice
tacks
gust
underneath.
at the right time.
It's not on screen, I don't think, but it was. It's a ton of fun. Just happened. Well, it's come on the screen there, but it just happened. Okay. There is a little bit of attacking duel starting to go on, so if you are in the Ash Emery team squad, the cheer squad, she's trying to throw some tacks at those 3 boats that are just in front to see if she can agitate some action. It's looking tough for her at the moment.
Yeah, there's still that gap of 50 metres. It's a tough thing to break.
It's going to be a tough comeback, but remembering there's a lot of changes that's happening up here with the breeze coming down, getting compressed down the wharf or down the shore. We've seen some real good stuff flicking here, and let's say she's taken a bit of a flyer.
Yeah,
correct.
Well, that's almost her only option at this point. You have to separate and hope these other 3 boats keep fighting each other for no gain. Right?
That's right.
They should just go straight to the finish from here.
Here we go. She's run exactly. She's got the separation. She's going for the flyer. She needs a big left-hander. Big left-hander needs to come down.
So
there it is.
Carter Baker coming across.
She's got a big left-hander.
How are they looking? Oh, she's dropped.
She's got a big left. Oh, this is crazy.
It a lee bow?
It's a lee bow. There's a boat length between them.
Between 5th
This is critical.
and 6th.
And now boat number 6 is coming
Another
back across.
Coming back.
Oh,
Coming back to the wharf.
this is critical. It's a terrible tack.
Died out, but it's a massive left-hander.
This is going to be critical. Tack right on the wall. There you go. You can see it all on your screen. So that is Ash at the top of screen there. Just tacking on the wall in nothing. That's Carter. You can see in pressure at the moment, smoking up. And then the other boat's coming across. The gap's big. I think the time's running out. Hook it. There's the big left-hander. Carter's coming back in a right. He's going to knock in a sec.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's enough.
This is left of screen is Ash. The next boat along coming across to cover is Carter. That's 5th and 6th. I think Carter tacks right on top.
Back on top.
I think they're just running out of time now.
Yep. Largs Bay, if you're watching, I think this is it. They're just throwing the dice. They're rolling everything. I think they're done.
Yeah, I think they know now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a straight line to the finish for the others. 3rd, 4th, 5th. And unfortunately for the team of Ashley Emery, Finlay Bunt, Tabitha Stevenson and Rachel Husko,
The magic didn't happen.
the magic did not happen.
Oh, wow. Well, I tell you what, it was the
Hey,
change.
have you ever watched a race?
Where we're watching the
We're
back
watching the
buckets.
5th and 6th so much.
It's insane. It's absolute, and our poor broadcasting crew. We're watching it on the, not watching the screen as much as we should be. They're trying to match us with their coverage. You
So
know?
we're a good couple of seconds ahead of the game,
Yeah,
aren't we?
yeah. We're making it hard for the guys behind. Is what I was suggesting.
Okay.
We're not being proper pros.
We're just getting a bit taken up in the excitement.
So we're looking forward to that. We don't have long. This, go on, boss. You were going to say?
So, yeah, just a reminder to the viewers, that means that the team, Ashley and her team are out, but what it does mean is she is going to be joining us very soon in the booth to have a bit of a chat and talk us all through it.
And the benefit of that is she has to leave her boat for the crew to de-rig while she talks to us. So
It's
there's
a benefit
pros
of
and
being
cons.
the skipper.
Yep.
Yeah. So they'll get back to the dock. They'll do a little vox pop down and be interviewed, and then we are into elimination race 2.
But that's still a good result. 6th. So the second year of the South Australian Sailing League for Largs Bay to make the finals and come 6th. That's no poor effort at all.
No, and with a team that represents so well the women in yachting. So congratulations to Ash and her team.
Yep. So we look forward to seeing them, whether they come across to Victoria for the Vic Sailing League event or the next South Australian League
Well,
event.
I think this has just given the appetite, Mark, for people to get more and more involved. No one has disenjoyed it, let's say that. They loved it and they want to get a whole lot more about it.
Yep.
South Australia, in years gone past, were quite strong in the match racing point of view, and but this whole concept of just makes it so accessible to everyone.
Yep. Oh, we're straight into another sequence here. I think 2 minutes 20 to go.
Correct. We are into it. So one boat drops out. We've got 5 boats left in the race. They are trying to set up, so you can just see the manoeuvring for that setup. No changes on the course.
So as we go now, there's one boat less on the course.
Yep.
The starts probably get a bit easier
Yep.
in a way.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bit more room to...
More aggression.
Yeah, so it changes the dynamic, especially when you get down to that 3-boat final race. That's a totally different
Well, that
style
changes
of
everything
racing.
because you desperately want to win rather than protect from coming last.
1 minute 45. Down on Carlin's boat.
Looks like the sun's coming out.
Yeah,
Best
the
Sun's
50
coming
maybe.
out. We've got people coming from the crowd asking us for sunscreen. We haven't had anyone deliver us some beers yet, but
That's Sandy's,
that'll be next.
that's Sandy's partner, and she's wiping. She's nervously chewing and rubbing. And
I thought she was going to be asking for something to calm herself down a bit.
that's called the beer tin over there. If you get the pirate life Brewing.
All right, guys.
Life Brewing ale.
So what?
We're going to get a little
now.
bit serious here.
Okay.
We've got 1 minute to go, elimination race 2.
Okay, so looking at that shot, you can't see anything, but they actually are all lining up. Just there, we've got half the boats to the left and half the boats to the right. They all look like they're going to head across. You can see them all going across at the moment on port, and they're going to set up and do that bear away set with a starboard, everyone on starboard.
Even more conservative, I'd say, this one.
Yeah, yeah. Although 2 boats coming in on port, but they're just going to tack underneath the boats that are already lined up.
30 seconds. Classic starting manoeuvre here by Sandy. Always comes in late, picks
You can
his
tell
position.
you've got a fixed camera on screen at the moment because it's just sitting there looking, and here they come. So the first boat's starting to appear in shot.
And what's that, 12 seconds to go?
Greg Allison, and then boat 4 come in, which is Fritz. Sandy to the leeward there, he's boat number 2. 5 seconds to go, and they'll all turn down in a second.
And bows down, the gunner's gone.
Boat 5 is to leeward there. That's not boat 5, must be boat 6. Blue kite up, red kite up. Low pressure at the moment. It's filling. I can feel a gust coming.
Yep,
I
there's
can feel a gust.
wind coming.
So what colour kite? We've lost a white kite, I think. No, we've lost a red kite. Sandy.
All right, so relatively soft pressure, but they'll just be looking for these lines coming down.
Okay, we just
All
heard
right.
a whistle. I don't know if that was a green flag.
Look at this run that Grego's got straight down the guts. He's got pressure. Everyone's jibed. Grego stayed on it and running down, and then Carter Baker right behind him. So the CYCSA boats are up. Guess who's pulling up a jib? That's telling me they're pulling up a jib. Oh, there's a turn there from Fritz. Fritz with his kite up.
And they need the spinnaker down below the boom height. Is that right? The head of the spinnaker?
Got to get it below the gooseneck. The head of the spinnaker below the gooseneck. He's doing his turns. He's got no jib. He's up, away. Kite will go straight back up. He's doing a jibe set.
And boat number 3, so Carter Baker, also got their kite
That's
down,
it.
so they're doing a turn as well, it looks
Yep,
like.
yep. They didn't do it immediately, so I'll be very interested to see how that responds. So
There we
Fritz,
go. Boat number 3 doing their turns.
and right in a big gust. Fritz will hook onto this gust.
Jib
and
is not in.
This is going to be a disaster. Absolute disaster. So you can see them doing a turn in the middle of the screen there, and that blue kite coming past them now is Rob.
Plenty of pressure going down there now.
Plenty of pressure. They've got the jib wrapped around everything,
Oh, dear.
and that is going to be very, very hard to fix. There's lots of twists, and they're going to struggle to get everything sorted there. If you're fans of Carter Baker and the crew, you will be very nervous right now because that is going to be a very difficult thing to fix. Jib wrap like that, not fun.
It's amazing that we've had 2 boats do penalties,
All right,
and yet
jib's
the whole
coming
fleet
down.
is within
Yeah,
like 3 boat lengths of each other.
that's it. Well, Grego had a beautiful run. He hasn't even jibed. He just went all the way down there. He's just dropping the kite and running square in. Look at that. He's goal winging. He's on a cruise.
Mate,
he's cracking the beers. He's just having a lovely
He's on a
time.
TS16 heading downwind. All right, Robbie Doosan coming back to gain that left-hand advantage coming into the
Oh,
and
he's gonna put the
plenty of
price
breeze
on.
at the moment for this bottom mark. Oh, here's Ash. I need to go.
Okay. So whilst the racing's going on, we've got Ash Emery from Largs Bay. Just come and step in. Come into the middle, Ash.
Hello.
How you going? So wonderful to be into the final of the SA Sailors League presented by Maughan Thiem Ford. What did you think?
It was very exciting. I was saying yesterday, like, we were stoked to be in the final and we were cheering because that was the hardest racing physically we've done in our entire lives. So just kind of happy to be here today. Obviously a bit disappointed, but it's pretty windy.
It's pretty windy. When you were going into this elimination race, did you have any different thoughts strategically than you would normally do going into a race?
Yeah, well, essentially, like that, I was just saying that's the first downwind start I've done in my entire life. So once we got going, we had someone behind us. We just tried to stay in front of one boat the entire time. Obviously didn't work out, but...
Yeah, it's a whole lot of new skills. So the downwind starts, the racing on a river, and in foreign boats that you probably don't sail every weekend. So
No, definitely.
awesome effort to make the final. So
Yeah,
well done on
thank you,
that.
Thank you.
And now we're into the second lap, or really the end, halfway through the first lap. of this next heat.
So what do you think of the critical elements for winning, Ash? If you were making those decisions out there right now, what did you learn? What would you be doing?
Because we're all experts up here now. Now you're off the boat.
Oh, look, honestly, there was still dead spots. So we sailed in behind the wharf, and that was the end of our race. Just once. We took the wrong pin and stopped moving for 30 seconds, and that was the end of it. So, yeah, lesson learned.
So you were, I think you had 3 females, 1 male in your crew.
That's right.
Was that it was just you wanted to have fun? Would you think they're the best 4 sailors? What was the strategy with your crew setup?
We essentially were aiming to have an all-female team, but obviously there's not that many female sailors in the world.
We want more.
We do want more. So we did the best we could, but honestly, we're just a bunch of dinghy skippers that sort of fighting each other to make it work out there. So I think I'm pretty happy with how we did.
So how did you decide who was doing what role at the start of the weekend?
Honestly, just dumb luck, I think. One or two of us had sailed these boats once before, so we just threw them in, and that's where they stayed.
Perfect. So hopefully now, from that, you'll come back next year, or whatever events that are going to happen next year.
Yeah.
But we'd love to see you back again.
Absolutely. If they let us, bit of training beforehand. And we'd
I don't
be
think you
sweet.
did any damage to the boat, so there's no fear in getting invited back, that's for sure.
No damage.
So who? Before we let you go, I need to hear from you a tip. Who's going to win?
Oh, I don't even know who won the last race, to be honest. I'd have my money on Sandy Higgins, probably.
Well, he won the last race.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There you
Closely
go.
followed by Robbie Jewson.
Yeah.
And now we've got Gregor. All the old blokes at the moment. What do you say about that? Do you think age is the difference?
I'd love the CYC youth team to get up there. I don't know if they're going to this race, but yeah, definitely rooting for them. A bunch of them are also large sailors, so we'll half claim it.
Yep.
At the moment, they're in last place. They're under threat. Carter Baker and his crew, as you said, the overlap between Largs and Cruising Yacht Club South Australia. And there they are, but they're close. It's still close.
They're close. It's
It
not
was
over
interesting
yet.
that you said you didn't even know who won the last race, because we were focused on the boats that were like 4th, 5th and 6th as well.
Yeah. Well, that's what mattered.
Yep.
Gee, there's some big squirrely puff going through that. Yeah, okay, so Ash, my last question for you. If you're watching this and you're a non-sailor, would you recommend sailing to anyone?
Absolutely. I reckon it's so exciting being in here. Even coming to spectate on Friday night was good fun when I wasn't even out there. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, well, well done. Well done to your team as well. Thanks for joining us, and we appreciate you. We were so happy for you. We know the Largs Bay TV was on. The crew were all tuned in and cheering you, and we were disappointed to see you go.
That's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. See you, champ.
Thanks for that.
Is that for me?
Oh, ask Mike. Yeah, looks like he got it for you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's yours.
All right, so we're down there. Second run is underway, and it is still close, but it does look like Carter Baker and CYC SA Team 3 is behind Commodore. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm about to walk down to the wharf and get the whip out, my friend.
I thought you might be bringing out a red flag and a whistle.
So we've got boat number 1, Greg Allison, CYC. You'd say probably Sandy with Brighton Seacliff in the dominating position at the moment, holding that starboard advantage if anyone comes back. Robbie Doosan, a good comeback after being over at the start on CYC. And then, of course, we have Ben Hanks holding out.
They've suddenly
in
got a
fourth
gust, so
position.
they're actually coming back a bit, actually. So this could get tightened up as we get down to this bottom gate.
I just noticed, Bossy, that your Pirate Life Brewing South Coast Pale Ale, Ash took, just grabbed it and took it. She was desperate. She's very keen for it.
Well, fair enough too. It's a splendid drop and a great drop on a Sunday afternoon. So for those at home, feel free to hook into one yourselves.
And it'll be great. She'll be going back to the boat where the crew's de-rigging. She's got a beer in hand. Just one.
We put some down there for him. Okay. All right, so the pressure... Oh, actually...
We got plenty
There's
of
a
breeze
squirt.
here, guys.
You know, the other thing is it swung slightly to the left and it's coming slightly off the wall we're sitting on at the moment. So it's become slightly more of a soldier's course. It's not completely, but those squirts, Carter's coming back. Will he get it back? I don't know, but you know what's going to happen a lot of.
So we're looking straight up the race course in that drone footage. and you can just see those little bullets coming down.
There's going to be some broaches. There's going to be some luffs. There's going to be some out of control. There could be some wall contact.
Despite looking at basically the last and second to last who sees who we will see who gets eliminated, you've got to say Sandy is probably taken the advantage thus far for boat handling and performance.
Yeah, it's just getting out in front, isn't it? And just no mistakes.
Consolidating.
Making it easy.
The other thing that's of interest to my eye is that the last two boats are boat 3 and 6. So that's Carter Baker and Ben Hinks, the two teammates that sailed together for so long, fighting it out with each other. It looks to me like Carter's having difficulty getting that kite down and had to spin to the other mark. He's gone for separation, clearly gone for separation. And that Sandy in shot, that's his team. So Sandy is actually sailing basically with his son's crew. His son, Alex, competed in the Asia Pacific final last year in Newcastle. Was it last year, or we had COVID in the way?
No, it was last year.
Last year?
Yes.
That's right, I didn't do that one.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right. And so he's just stepped in, he's grabbed his young fella and plucked him out the way and sat himself down. And
do you think Sandy's got now his crew, the son's crew?
I'm intrigued. They are sailing well. He's a good sailor. His style of sailing really suits this really shifty stuff. Remember, he's grown up in Brighton Seacliff where it goes left and right and you get these bullets coming off the shore a lot. So he's very, very comfortable in this stuff. A lot of the South Australians are used to very solid, straight wind and it just cranks slightly during the day. So it's a boat speed race. The Brighton and Seacliff team are used to a lot more shifty stuff. Cruising Yacht Club South Australia pretty much hit the corner.
Well, that's what you'd say if on a standard sea breeze day. But here, it's anyone's game.
And here we go. The tide looks like no tidal effect I can notice on the fleet at the moment. Have we got closer at the back there?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty tough now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. You can see just dropping off the shot there on the right of your screen was our tailing boat or trailing boat.
And the boat that's in fourth is just putting in really loose cover, just going the same side of the course as them. I think the boat in fourth has just forgotten about first, second, third.
Yep, as you would.
Exactly.
As you would. I mean, it's the old people's home up in the front, you know. Like
I can hear the walking frames clanging as we speak.
So, it's, you know, in fact, yeah. So our skippers would be 60 in the 60s, in the 60s, and in the 50s. Interesting.
Hey,
Interesting.
young guys' sport, isn't it, mate?
But the crew,
Let's hope for a shed.
but the crews are all young.
No, absolutely. So another, as we see Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club head for their second win.
Yeah, boat 1. Boat 2 from the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club, currently in 5th. That's Sandy just getting the gun there, so that's nice and clean. So Brighton Seacliff 1. And then the second last place boat's just got a lovely left-hander and it's got about 30 or 40 metre lead on the 5th place boat, which is our friends from the Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia. So Carter Baker, Murphy Cohen, Sailor Cohen and Tom Gordon on that crew.
So that looks like through into the next race. There'll be 2 Cruising Yacht Club of South Australia and 2 Brighton teams.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And when
Both
we get
from
to the
opposite ends of the coast as well.
Yeah, and we'll end up with a final of 2 Brighton and 1 CYC, or
Let me, Lisa, if you are watching, let's negotiate. Commodore of the Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club.
I love it. I love it. It's exactly that, opposite ends of the coast. It's good 40 kilometres between them, or 40 minutes driving, whatever, depending on. And if you're in Bicey's vehicle,
An hour and a half.
2.5 hours driving to.
A couple of breakdowns.
So that
Rightio.
on shot.
So unfortunately for Carter Baker,
Who's on shot now?
he I don't even think he's old enough that we can give him a Pirate Life South Coast Parallel when he does come up.
No, I don't think so.
So
we'll leave that for
So
his mum and dad
Kylie
to
and
make
Chad,
those decisions.
yeah, you can make those decisions.
Yeah. So you can see him on screen coming in up to that finish. So that'll be the end of the SA Sailors League, presented by Maughan Thiem Ford. So I guess he can go and look at his potential first car.
Well, he can go and have a look at one of those
Yeah.
Fords. But I was chatting with Kylie Carter's... Carter's mother this morning.
I knew what you
And
were going
she was saying last night and through this morning, Carter rewatched all his races that he'd done. He rewatched all the starts. He saw exactly what the teams were doing yesterday afternoon. So as far as a learning experience for that young guy, at 15 years old,
Wow.
he's taken it on, and he should be very, very proud.
Yeah. And so what does Carter normally sail? Is he
420.
420? Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
it's someone to look out
and
for.
has just recently stepped into the IQ4.
Oh, fantastic.
Stepped onto the IQ4, should I say?
And probably stepped off and fallen off many times.
We need to make sure he feeds up.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So 15 years old and sailing against, what's the oldest here?
Well, it's probably Robbie actually, or
Robbie
Gregor.
Gleason would be 63 years old.
Yeah.
Wow,
Something
it's really good for our sport, isn't it? That we've got a 15-year-old and a 60-year-old.
Well, that's probably one of the greatest things about our sport. Of course, there's a certain level of fitness you need, but you don't have to be the world's best triathlete to be a great sailor.
No.
You don't have to be of a certain age. You can be, and as you've just said, that big spread as well. So that's a great thing
especially
about
in
sailing.
this type of sailing.
That's
It's
what
not
the
about
league's about.
speed. It's not about hiking. It's not who can hike the hardest, goes the fastest. It's who's the smartest.
Absolutely.
I think that kind of what the plan of the league is the Champions League is to allow everyone to compete so you can find out the full sailing complement. So yeah, we've put them in boats that are less athletic, still need to be fit. You can't just get around in your
Trackies.
trackies,
You still.
But at other events, we've had Far 40 crews come and represent Newcastle, and they've raced against laser radial sailors.
Yeah.
So you've got a really good team of keelboat sailors turn up against a naive, optimist and laser radial sailors who have never sailed with a spinnaker before.
I think we're underway in the next sequence. One of the things that I found interesting when we spoke to Ashley was that they were all skippers on the boat, and crew work I think is absolutely critical. So the fact that they had a coloured sail up front for 4 skippers might have been confusing for a good first part of the race.
And it's actually one of the side benefits we've found, that we're getting dinghy sailors into keelboats, and they've never actually tied a boat up to a dock. They've never actually, some of these sailors wouldn't know how to tie kite because all they've sailed is optimists and lasers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right.
So this is a whole new lot of skills of even how to tie a boat up to a dock.
Yep.
And that's
is valuable.
A big part. We're coming down to almost 1 minute to go. Whilst the Elliots are here to provide a foundation and build some racing skills, they're also there to provide just basic training as well.
Yeah, so then these sailors can go onto a keelboat and they know some basic
Feel
skills of
confident,
keelboats.
feel as though they know what, and they're stepping stones, absolutely. So 40 seconds to go.
Anyone's in play here, I reckon. Anyone's in play. Who will be eliminated is a very important question. I don't know who. I think a penalty will come into play.
Greg Allison looking a little bit early here. They're coming in. Sandy Higgins probably in the dominating position from behind.
There's definitely more
It's a
likelihood
lured
of
boat.
penalties in this race, I think.
Yep. I think penalties are definitely going to come into play.
Not terribly windy at the moment, but there's breeze
Oh,
coming.
there's a jibe.
3,
There's a jibe.
2.
Here we go. We're going to see it. No. Boat 5 went for the jibe. Can't be boat 5 because they're not in the race. Okay,
here we go.
Sandy with a quick set.
And a
Greg
gust at the
Allison.
same time.
You know what? The last boat has just muffed that start. They tried to get the port hand start and it didn't work, and now they're trying to get their kite up. Look at that. Sandy in the bottom there getting absolutely smoked. Everyone's going to go over the top of him.
So Ben Hanks currently sitting in that elimination spot.
But this is a
Straight
good
out
thing, a
of the
bit of
start.
downwind starts. So if they were that far behind off an upwind start, they'd just get covered and there's no hope for them. But right now, they've got the clear wind and they can actually catch up and get back into this.
Grego with his little run down the wall that he did in the last race to get right to the front. Oh, bit of aggression on Sandy's boat, the red kite, just trying to flick. There goes Ben with a jibe.
Heading into that.
We've got the two white kites on screen.
It's got nice breeze as well, heading over to that left-hand side for the downwind.
Yeah, so what does boat number 2 do? So they've let the boat behind them just go off on their own. They're now at risk, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're right in the worst possible position.
Is there going to be enough room for both the blue kites to get across in front of, or is it a port starboard? I didn't see a flag.
You know what? Sandy did well, though. He obviously saw a line of wind.
Plenty of pressure and a broach.
Sandy saw a line of wind and he waited for that and he's jibed straight onto it and he's running with pressure and knocks. He's going big time.
So Greg just dropped from first to effectively third in one bad jibe?
One bad jibe and potentially fourth if Ben comes back. And just for the viewers and local South Australians, I've just seen an iconic man of South Australia, Johnny Hazeman, walk past. For those who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
The most conservative dress I've ever seen him in.
I think he had his mankini in his backpack.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
You can see on screen, so Sandy's the red kite. Fritz is the blue kite to the right. Grego is boat number 1 that's just dropping early. He'll get the sail out and start cruising. TS16 it into the mark. And here comes Ben coming
Starboard
across.
advantage. How much has he got there? Looking at the drone footage now, he's not quite going to get there.
Oh, the whistle. Oh, so there'll be a flag.
So which mark is he going to go to? I think it's going to be a split.
Okay.
I normally get our guests here.
Carter, how are you, mate?
Good, good.
You've got to hold the microphone near your mouth. There we go. Welcome up to, congratulations on making the final of the SA Sailing League. Was it fun or was it hard?
It was fun, very fun. Had a great time, long weekend. It's always great to do the sailing.
Yeah, no, we have to say well done. Like, how old are you? 15?
Yeah.
And we were just talking before that you're sailing against a whole range of really experienced sailors and some keelboat guys. So good work. Yeah. So it's I think there's a good future. If you guys come back and build a team that's strong and do some crew work,
yeah, exactly.
It's all positive.
Exactly.
Do you think, did it play out how you thought it would? Did you expect to make the final? Were you happy with how you went?
Well, I went into the event thinking let's have a bit of fun. And then, obviously, first day, very close. We thought we were in the finals by the second race already. But we were fourth when I looked in the replay. But just made it and just happy to be in the final.
And this format of racing, like, it's different than what you do every other weekend.
Yeah, the downwind starts is definitely difficult. I had a good job at it the first day, but today was a bit different. Way more, let's say, competitive on the start.
So day one, everyone's learning how to sail the boats.
Yeah, exactly.
Today, like, it's just lifted a whole level.
Yeah, way bigger level, way more competition, harder competition. You have to be much more careful what you do. And yeah, obviously didn't pay off for me today. But
so with your sailing, what are you doing nowadays? You've swapped from the 420, I think.
Yeah, I just got back from Youth Worlds with Benny Boy.
Yep, he's out there now.
Yeah, unfortunately. I would have loved to beat him.
Well, he might be in here to play. We thought he was dropping behind, but he's got right back up into it. So he's looking all right. He's got Grego behind him.
So the question we've asked everyone: who's your money on? Who do you think's sailing well?
I haven't been at the top of the fleet, so I don't know. But who's at the back?
Who do you want to
That's
win?
Greg Allison at the back, boat one. But we care about who you think's going to win.
I wanted Greg to win.
Yeah, lovely man.
Right now,
You might have to change your mind on that.
Well, it's going to be between him and Ben. So who do you want?
Not Ben. Not Ben.
Fantastic.
He dogged me in the first race. He was full tackle on me. Not happy.
Okay.
Not happy.
Okay.
Not happy.
Cool. All right. Well, you haven't given us who you think's going to win, but did you enjoy yourself, mate?
Yeah, heaps.
Yeah.
Funnest thing ever.
Funnest thing ever.
Way different than normal racing and just straight way better.
Brilliant. So we have to get you back doing more of this stuff.
Yeah,
Come
definitely.
over to Melbourne, come over to Newcastle, and start competing against some knock off those East Coast clubs.
Exactly. get a bit of training before I get into the event first. Hopefully it'll be better, but we'll see.
Fantastic.
Cool, Carter. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Just before I go, I'd like to give a few thank yous. Like to thank Musto, Maddie Salter, coach, great. Who else? CYC, keep on me, get me next year, and I'll do way better for you next time.
All right.
Nice. Well done.
Good man.
Congratulations.
See you, buddy. All right, so we're near the top of the first beat. You can see three boats are quite close together, trailing off behind who was looking like they were going to lead in for this race is Greg Allison. So boat number 1, the Cruising Yacht Club South Australia boat 2, is trailing behind. You can see that's the gap. So he'll need to do something special.
And it's all pretty light at that top mark at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. And I can't feel a gust yet, but you know what's going to happen?
It's going to come.
It's going to come. I tell you what. Gee, it's almost like the event organisers know how to time a race. We're going to be right on time for this final. It's going to be perfect.
Amazing.
So,
but what I will say, guys, I was just chatting to Chad Baker, Carter's father, off camera there.
Yep.
Proud moment for sure.
Proud dad, yep.
For proud dad moment. 15 years old, nailed it. Excellent. Oh, we've got.
It's our lead 2 now. So Rob Jewson in front of Sandy Higgins. This is going to be definitely playing out. But for Ben Hinks, he's got the wine glass from hell. Absolutely.
There they go.
You can't see him on screen at the moment. He's just behind the shot that you've got on screen. And it's popped out now, so it's all clean. So if you're fans of that team, don't worry about it. They've just overshooted the kite to hell now.
Let's not go wine glass again.
Let it out, boys. Ease it. They'll get there eventually.
So just as Carter did come in there, boys, I received a message from the Commodore of the Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club, Lisa Brock. So shout out to her again. And currently looking as though we'll have young Ben in the finals.
Yeah. So it'll be 2 Brighton and 1 CYCSA. And, you know, if we had another elimination, would it just be... No.
Who knows?
So Sandy crept past Fritz there. Fritz had the lead. Sandy stayed slightly further across to the Birkenhead side and made quite a good gain on Fritz. I've got some bad news going on board for Ben Hinks' team. They've had another wind-up. They've got it clear. They've got a lot of people forward of the mast there at the moment. That's not going to be fast. If a gust hits, that will spin them straight up into the wind.
Yeah, they're now going conservative mode. Jibs up well early, coming into the bottom marks. And they probably have enough advantage. And if they just need to be nice and clean around here, not make any mistakes, to hold into that 3rd position and not get eliminated.
Imagine if we could put furling sails, we could go triple header downwind, just unfurl everything, go pop, pop, pop. That'd be a lot of fun. So this is the last elimination rate. The last boat here is eliminated and the front 3 boats go to the final. Winner takes all. The whole strategy, the pressure, the intensity will change. And we've been focusing on who's last at this stage. Greg Allison, he's just had a bad one just down near the bottom mark for the first time, and it's just dropped him back. He was looking like he was going. Here we go.
We've got Tier 16 mode on and engaged.
Engaged, yep. Running dead square into that bottom mark and going to the same direction as everyone else. So no split off. You would have thought he'd split off.
It's tough, isn't it? There's a big comeback is needed. So. Yeah, I think the time's running out for him.
Time is definitely running out.
Under a little bit of pressure there with that rounding as well. Now, what's he going to do? You need to do the split, Greg Allison.
AM. Alistair Murray, AM. Hi, guys. Really enjoying the racing. Nearly as much as the commentary.
So he's not asleep yet?
Alistair's probably just come back from a 3-hour bike ride or something.
He's a stink butter nowadays. We discount everything he says. Great man,
so
chairman.
No splits at this point in time.
And for those who don't know, Alistair's the president of Australian Sailing. In fact, there won't be anyone who doesn't know that.
Surely, no. Alistair, one of the great men of our sport. And
I think Alistair's on a national tour to every visit every one of those 400 yacht clubs to give a bit of a talk about that.
Fantastic.
I'm waiting for him, because he is chairman of Ronston, which is a yacht fitting brand. I'm waiting for him to mandate all Australian sailors must use Ronston.
Like in the US, where every Olympic sailor is mandated to get a moustache like Paul Cahill.
It's so true. It's so true. Oh dear. Anyway, okay. So we look. I can't see Grego getting back here, boys. I can see nice, smart sailing going from that front three. I just cannot
Got to
see.
say, Ben's probably snuck back here, but he's now in a position where he has to protect his third position.
And he's not even worrying about second. He's not even thinking about it.
No.
He's just doing a loose cover. Very smart. Lisa would be pretty happy.
Should be very proud at the moment.
There's some nice, beautiful sailing. I mean, that is almost picture perfect the way they're sailing these boats at the moment. They've got them set up beautifully.
Speaking of picture perfect, Jordan, the sun has come out. We've got a whole bunch of cars parked across on the other shore, tailgating as they call it in the US. They've got the Eskies, they're sitting down, they're watching the racing.
You're
got
right.
a whole host sitting
You're
along
right.
the wharf here, checking it all out. So, and for those at home, enjoy the viewing, because we're about to launch into the final. Ben Hinks just putting another loose cover on Greg Allison.
Came in a little close to the wall. He could, Grego's kind of split tacks. I guess Ben's been smart. He'll just force him right against that wall.
Yeah, put him against the wall, just sail a straight line in front of him all the way to the finish.
Tack on tack on
Yeah.
tack.
So if this was teams racing, Robbie in the CYC boat could try to slow down
Ben
the
Hinks.
Brighton, number 6, and try to get the second CYC boat through to the final.
But you
I
can't,
don't
though.
think it's going to happen. Oh,
No,
you
well,
can't.
You can't, obviously.
No, you can't. It's a rule against it, so you can't. You've got to race for yourself. But in teams racing, of course, you can. But yeah, I think as we hear the horn for our leader go through the line, but yeah, here comes Robbie across. Oh, if you look at the camera, Robbie, maybe he listened to you.
Oh, let's see.
No, he won't. He won't. He's completely focused on his
Let's
race.
see if he's a good club man for.
All right, they're still tacking their way up here. Unfortunately, it's not enough in the last 50 metres to the finish line. And Ben Hinks from Brighton Seacoast Yacht Club goes across in third
Yep.
to be part of the Maughan Thiem SA Sailing League final.
That's a very good race.
It was a good race. It all changes now. The whole focus changes. So as we go into the final, you can still see
Now-
on screen.
It is about the win.
Yep. So Greg Allison's what you've got on screen. So he's the last boat to be eliminated. His team of Josh Hinks, Curtis Mitchell, and Monique Haynes. And now Grego worries about making sure the boats are all safe, because he's responsible for all these boats.
So does that mean Sandy Higgins has won every race thus far in the final series?
Yep.
He needs to carry on that form all the way through. Have the other guys just being sailing conservative? We got a whole nother race on our hands here, boys.
Yeah, puts a target on your back, doesn't it? So
Certainly does. Sandy he's started well, conservative. He's in the top 2 or 3 at the bottom mark every time. Probably, I would say, Robbie Doosan, CYC, hasn't started that well at all, but he's managed to fight his way back. So if we get him off in a clean start, it could be all on.
It will be vicious. You know, if you're Ben Hinks, we were talking about this before, they can be the anonymous boat.
Yes.
Yep.
And they can just let them, it will be vicious between those other two. And they could make that mistake, you know, but Ben Hinks and his crew could be the anonymous boat and just split off. And next thing you know, they could just sneak through. Be hard. They're very sophisticated, very clever sailors, and I don't think they'll let it happen, but that's probably an option. That's a possibility.
And we
there's
saw what
some-
happened. What was it? The Abu Dhabi or the Sail GP,
Yep.
where Ben Ainsley dominated that last race until the very last leg.
Very last job, in fact.
Yeah, yep. So
Just keep putting the pressure on. As
Yep,
if
you
you're
never know.
behind,
Pressure on.
put the pressure on. If you're in front,
And don't give up.
yeah. So we'll have a little delay to get this started. I don't think we'll roll immediately into the start, but we'll be going very, very shortly. So we will have Grego come up here for a bit of a chat fairly shortly, and then we'll watch the final. Winner takes all, and then we'll talk to the winner.
And then go straight into the prize giving on the main stage.
And we should say these top 4 boats, now just coming in the top 4 of all, we will get invites to the Sailing Champions League Asia Pacific final. So that's going to be in May next year.
Yep.
In New South Wales. So each of these clubs has now qualified 2 teams to attend. So we look forward to seeing them at that next event to take on teams from WA, New Zealand, hopefully the Pacific again. We had Vanuatu compete last year.
Actually, they asked me to coach them, but I couldn't fit it in.
Yep.
So tell us about the location, Mark, up there, like the stadium sailing and how that
For the last
works.
couple of years, we've run it at Newcastle, which has just been, it's very similar to this. The main difference is there's a pub right on the dock.
Yeah.
In fact, that's probably the only difference. And of course, with all the flooding, the water had a lot more debris and stuff coming through it. But so we've run it stadium sailing. We've had clubs from Vanuatu last year, which was fantastic to have a team there. They pulled out the carver at one of the nights.
They sound like a pretty cool bunch. Actually.
I haven't had a go have some of the carver. It was a bit of mud water.
On my agenda.
No. But this year we're also looking at maybe we'll get a team from South Korea. South Korea, Singapore, and we're hoping for Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron to come across as well.
That'll be formidable.
So it'll really be the Asia Pacific final.
Yeah.
And then from each of these state leagues. So we'll get qualified out of this. There'll be 4 teams. From the WA Sailing League, 4 teams. The Vic Sailing League that's coming up in January, 4 teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hot. And we'll work out who's the best club in Asia Pacific.
So when you say 4 teams, 2 open and 2 under 23?
It could be 4 under 22. So there has to be 2 under 22s from each state.
Yeah.
But if the under 22s are good enough to actually win the open as well,
Yep.
they get through.
Greg Allison joins us now, eliminated in the last race, buddy. What was going on? What happened, my friend?
Oh, it just happened so quickly, Jordan. I think we got off to a good start, and you just.
You look like you were going to lead the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, we had our moments, and just had a few hiccups in the last race. So it's just so tight. You just make one little mistake, and you're out of it. Yeah.
Mate, you did fantastic though. You looked really, really good right throughout the regatta. You had no flashes of brilliance, just pure brilliance.
Yeah. No, we're pretty comfortable with what we've achieved in a short time. Pulled everybody together quite recently, so very proud of the team.
And it looked pretty easy from up here, but from down on the water, it's really tricky.
It's very tricky. It's shifting a fair bit, and the pressure gradient's going up and down like a yo-yo as well. So,
Our teams are just doing a sail by as we go. So they're just doing a quick sail by. So for those, you can't see it on screen at the moment, but they're sailing. You can probably hear some of the audience cheering them on. But they are actually just sailing down exactly like the Flying 50s do in the Sail GP. They buzz you at about 1 metre away. Yep. And so the team's going to have a bit of a wave to the crowd. Grego, coming into this regatta, what were your hopes?
Oh, we didn't have any expectations. We just wanted to gel as a crew and take it from there, and just take it one race at a time. So that was our plan, and we're very proud that we got in the finals, and we were out there. So,
and tell us a bit about your crew. How did they come together? They normally don't sail together, I'm assuming.
No, correct. So last year CYCS they only had 1 boat entered, which is Robbie. And we wanted to really make sure that this year, we had 3 boats out there. So we worked hard, made sure we got a youth team in, which I think is out there, and we entered ourselves as well. So we ended up with 3 teams.
So there's a bit of competition to actually be the teams that represent your club now?
Well, there's going to be, because the ladies want to come on board as well. They've already registered, so to speak, a team for next year. We could quite possibly have 2 youth teams.
Fantastic.
So it's going to be very interesting going forward. So, and Harry's done a great job. So 15 boats, 3 qualifying pools of 5 each, 3 5s, 15. So next year might be 3 6s, 18. So we'll see how we go. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So Grego, mate, you've been bouncing around sailing at the top level for a long time. How much more are you going to go? Hey, what's the story for you, my friend?
Oh, look, just love sailing and getting out there, and these things are great fun. So happy to keep pushing the Elliott program at the CYCSA, and helping out at the CYCSA where I can with their sailing program across the board. So I'm really, really chuffed to be in that role. Yeah.
Yep. If people want to come out and try sailing.
Yeah, most definitely. 7 days a week, we're offering sailing classes. So don't be afraid. The door's always open. Come down. Jump on one of these great boats, and we'll have an instructor to take you out. So no problems at all.
Fantastic. It sounds like the club's doing some really good things, actually. So
despite the Commodore.
From the outsider's point of view, congratulations. The club's really showing the way in Adelaide, that's for sure.
Yeah, the club's kicking some really good goals at the moment. The York team headed by Madam Hayes, doing a great job leading this team going forward. Lots of exciting opportunities going forward.
Grego, absolute pleasure to see you again, my friend.
Thanks,
It's been
Jordan.
a few years, but congratulations. You did an awesome job, and as did your team. And I look forward to having a celebration with you after, mate.
Thanks, Jordan. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
No, I won't. No, thanks very much, gentlemen.
See you, buddy.
Right, see you, mate.
You're getting cheeky there, getting cheeky.
You're about to cut his mic off?
No. Oh, we've known each other a long, long time, that man and I, and he's a great man. So, so this is building up to be... Oh, Grego, did you... we want to make sure he got some of the sponsors' product. That was all. So, yeah. I mean, Mark, you've got to be... you do a great job putting on a great sailing event, but you turn up here and everything else is happening. How cool is this?
This is great. So the fact that there's food vans here, there's entertainment, basketball, skateboarding,
Roller skating.
Stand-up
haven't had to go to that.
The arcade, I took Jordan Spencer for a walk through there before, and we had a look at the Daytona cars. He couldn't fit in.
No.
Legs too long.
Sausage roll eating. There's
Sausage roll eating
everything's on show here.
competition,
So,
Yes. Let's
and
make
it's-
jokes at my expense.
it just makes for it's a good weekend out. So
It's
there's
unreal.
sailing on, but
It's unreal.
you actually don't have to be into sailing to enjoy this.
No,
So
that's
it's
right.
fantastic.
That's right. It's absolutely unreal. We're not too far, I think, away from
We're
getting
not
underway.
too far away, and the viewers can't see it, but I'm just having a look over. The bridge has been opened, the expressway, and
Yeah.
the Brindabella, a very famous boat from the
Brindabella
90s,
coming in.
has just come into the harbour, and they'll probably park themselves right in the middle of the racecourse. No, but they've come in and they're going to enjoy it, because after the finals, got a whole lot of music, whole lot of entertainment, whole lot of enjoyment coming up.
It would be great in future years if, a lot of the boats from the clubs around South Australia, in Adelaide, actually came up the river and saw this.
So as an offering for the future, admittedly the timelines were a little bit short, but we would love to welcome all not only the keelboat clubs, but to be able to offer something to everyone and have basically these whole docks fully lined by all members members from all the yacht clubs around South Australia. All right, boys, we are in to the sequence.
So we've got 2 minutes 45 to go.
Robbie's daughter just walking past, so ready to cheer for her dad.
So what you're telling me, Robbie's daughter's walking past away from the water.
Oh, yeah. There's no loyalty in the youth of today.
All right, 2 minutes 15, and we're just switching now over to the sailing footage as we're about to start
boats
getting
on the
into
line.
this. And let's see what sort of tactics
There's more
we have in the
opportunities for the
pre-start.
start here, because you can do a port hand jibe because there's less boats. So you'll be able to, there's more chance to do something different. And the quiet boat, the silent boat, the unwatched boat, who will it be? The one that can sneak away. Let's watch.
2 minutes.
So we suspect that boat 6 might be able to sneak away. Boat 2 and 4 will be watching each other pretty closely.
Yeah, it's such a good concept because naturally you want to fight against the boat that's closest to you, but you can't afford to do that because you'll just slow yourself down and the third boat takes over.
So boats 2 and 6.
Well,
1 minute
Marky,
36. Definitely not the final approach.
you said before, my friend, that Robbie could match race or teams race these boats out. We've got the opposite situation now. We've got 2 Brighton boats against CYCSA. One could definitely engage.
It could be, or the 2 Brighton boats want to fight it out. It's that either the inter-club challenge or the intra-club. Who wants to be the top?
Who wants to be the top dog within the Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club?
Yeah.
Is that the bigger fight here, or we'll find out?
I'll just ask one question, gentlemen, as a distraction. Well, 1 minute to go. We're thinking about strategy, and how long have we been talking for now? A couple of hours?
Yeah, a couple of hours.
We highlighted the DJ was going off on the stage.
Still going off.
Still going off.
All right.
That's a marathon,
and
isn't it?
we're going for the even boat.
Oh, there she is. That lady is just living large.
She was going when I was walking onto the site this morning.
All right. 30 seconds to go, guys.
Oh, dear. How cool is she?
All right, boats are lining up. They're all coming in on starboard jibe. We can't see it on the screen. They're about to see their bows
All
pop
in on
around that
starboard?
windward, that right-hand mark.
They're all in on starboard. There they go. There's our shot.
And there's some good winds.
Sandy with a controlling position. Fritz and Benny being squeezed out. Oh, there's almost a touch. Oh, this is early. They're holding each other up.
They're holding each other
You know
up.
what?
Commanding position by Robbie Doosan, because he'll get his boat across the line before everyone else.
Well,
Have
that's
the
Sandy.
advantage of getting the, Sandy Higgins,
Yep.
of getting the spinnaker up first.
But it'll get covered by it. So Sandy will get dirty air from everyone else, but he's done that every race so far. Fritz is next to him, and they've turned down. It looks like
They've got to get over the start line. There they go before
tied
they can
up,
hoist.
get it out. He gives it a little flick to fill it, and
It's got a good little gap, actually. So 1 or 2 boat lengths ahead of the other boats.
I still think he's going to get dirty air, but he's managed that before. He's been managing it the whole way. I'm surprised he got that control so easily. But look who's
it's so
being
light.
squeezed. There's the jibe. There's the jibe. That's an ugly jibe. It's not coming out clean. Got to send
I
someone
hear a
for it.
whistle.
Yep.
Not sure what it is.
That
There's a red flag.
there is a penalty.
There is a penalty.
Who's doing turns? Fritz.
Oh,
And
Fritz
it
is
is
doing turns.
CYC Robbie Doosan.
Oh no.
Both
doing
boats.
turns.
2
Oh,
boats.
that's it. No one is passing Sandy from here.
If Sandy orchestrated that was
is
just a masterpiece.
unbelievable.
And I just had to get into my head. We're not looking at this last here. We're looking at first.
We're looking at
Sandy
first.
Higgins leading.
Half a
And
league ahead.
Commanding lead.
And he's just jibed onto the long
All
jibe.
right.
Oh,
CYC,
How
Robbie
quick did
Doosan
Fritz-
has hoisted and they are off.
I tell you, those teams did lightning quick turns and got their kites back up. Very, very impressive performance. So you got the shot on Sandy at the moment, but you'll see a shot in a sec where you can
Another
see.
turn
Oh,
to Ben Hanks.
the youth is just taking a hammering. Someone doesn't like Gen Z.
So now it's up to Robbie to see if he can catch up.
Yeah, Gen A.
And
Oh,
unfortunately for Ben Hanks, they got quite a big rap now in this.
wine glass,
spinnaker.
people on the deck, everything's ugly. A little bit of head down there on that boat, I'm afraid. That's disappointing. So we can see on screen the gap. That gap is quite significant. This could be follow the leader for quite a while. The kite is out for Benny Hinks and his team, the second Brighton team, coming into shot there. You can see the final is turning out to be the most gapped apart race of the whole event.
Yeah.
Spaced by penalties. Did we not say penalties will make the difference today?
Exactly. So it's all been pretty clean until up until this final race. But now, they just have to sail for speed, don't they? Boat number 4, so Robbie just has to sail fast.
I'm interested, given our conversation about Robbie likes the banter, how much banter he used with the umpires. Wow.
All right, so
When
we
we talk-
have the first boat, Sandy Higgins, Brighton Seacliff Yacht Club in boat number 2, the Musto boat, rounding the bottom mark.
I will say this, for those who don't know, Fritz and Sandy, you are talking, if you don't know, they've not done the Olympic campaigns, and they've chosen not to go pro. They've got their own businesses. These are 2 of the best sailors in the country. There is
SA
absolute
sailing royalty for
royalty.
sure, not to mention the nation.
Yeah.
And that is exactly who this type of series is for. Like, the Olympic pathway tends to take care of itself. The America's Cup and professional sailing, the same. This is for everyone who chooses, or he's left out of those two?
Well, Fritz has done the America's Cup, but he chose not to go pro. He's been a tactician at the America's Cup. Sandy's tactician on a lot of teams, but he's South Australian based and doesn't have as high profile. But they're both. I think Fritz is the only bloke in Australia that's won all the senior class national championships. Sandy, so he's won the Sharpies, he's won the FTs, he's won the 5-0s, he's won the Melgers. Sandy's won the 5-0s multiple times, the Melgers multiple times. He's been right up there in the worlds. So yeah.
It's amazing at club level how many good sailors there are.
Exactly.
They've all gone overseas. They've all competed in world championships. There's just exceptional sailors floating around a lot of clubs.
Yep. I've got to say that wind has just swung slightly left, making it a bit of a soldier's course. Sandy is in a very happy place right now.
He is in a very happy place, but he's not. He wouldn't be holding it or sailing
conservative.
Well, he won't be taking any risks, that's for sure. But he is pushing as hard as he can. The further in front, the more comfortable he's going to be.
I will emphasise crews make all the difference. So the work of Ellen Sampson and Angus Higgins, who's Sandy's nephew, and Joel McKenzie, who've all been sailing together for a while with Alex, Sandy's son, is really showing. Fritz has joined together pretty much with his Melgers 24 team. He had to bring one body on board. He has your sister on board, Bicey. She's a ruthless, angry woman.
Don't ask me, mate.
She'd be dishing it out to that crew at the moment, wouldn't she?
I think they would be dishing it out to each other on board, because that is a long comeback required to get into the top of the podium position.
There's a good gap. It's probably 80 metres. It's probably the biggest gap we've seen in the whole event.
Well, that gap, what we're seeing now, is probably between first and sixth, or first and fifth, or first and fourth, as we went through the eliminations.
Yeah.
But now, it is between first and second. And let's face it, nothing else matters apart from first right now.
So, I've sailed and I've spent, probably a good 40 years with Sandy in my life. He was best man at my wedding. When he gets nervous, he picks his left leg with his left hand, and you see his little left hand drops down like this, and he flicks his left leg. He ain't doing that, so he's not nervous. Yeah,
he's comfortable. You think?
He's very comfortable.
So some good breeze now for this.
It's closer between second and third.
Yeah.
Those penalties made all the difference. I tell you, it is insane. So on screen at the moment, you can see the Benny Hicks, and then we just cut back up to Sandy as he bears away. And that boat you can see at the bottom of the screen is Fritz. That is the CYCSA boat number 1. So that shows you just how big that gap is in the lead. Penalties made all the difference.
He just has to keep clear at this point, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's been smart. He's going to come down on starboard. All rights, except unless Fritz rolls on the starboard.
Not coming down with much pressure.
No.
It's not going to make the difference, but there is not much pressure at all. Plenty of pressure down the course, and that'll come. More gusts will come through.
What a day, hey? What a day. What an event this whole weekend. It's just so exciting to know so many people are tuning in and watching sailing. And we've got so many people on the wharf watching it. And it's been unreal. It's been unreal. That Newcastle venue is unreal as well, I'll be honest. I've enjoyed
this is
that
up there. This is very similar in a lot of ways. But we've got the shoreside activity. We've got music, we've got drinks, we've got food. It's a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I flew down just to be here, just to enjoy it, and so happy to be here. And look, to be honest, I wouldn't. Whoever won, I would have been happy, because mates with all of these people. But it's great watching these talented sailors out there doing such a fantastic job.
And it's good too. Like, these guys will take enormous pride from the victory, but the teams that don't win will probably be
the hunger.
They'll be angry
the
next
hunger
year
that they want for next year.
Yep.
And this will be, well, we had 15 entrants in the Maughan Thiem SA Sailing League this year, and we have to cap it at something. But what we'd love to see is actually clubs qualify their own people going forward. We want to build that hunger, as you have built, Mark, with the Asia Pacifics, to build the hunger to qualify your particular clubs, qualify the states to get through, to have that chance to
and even what they do in Germany, like there's 3 different divisions. Like soccer, there's a division A, B and C.
Yeah.
So clubs actually fight they get relegated if they don't win if they're in the bottom 2 in their division. And it's a real soccer model of actually creating a pathway for clubs to fight against each other, both internally to represent your clubs, but then to beat the club down the road.
So interesting thing going on here at the moment. We're on Fritz on screen, but I think the next shot coming up, you'll see Sandy. They're trying to soak really, really low, and they've actually been sailing quite slow downwind because they don't want to do another job. I think they're going to have to. They are. Okay, but they've been really going slow because they're trying to minimise the manoeuvres down there. And it looks like they've set themselves up for a jibe drop, so which is not actually quite a simple, good way to control a spinnaker into a drop. So
and this is your last high-risk manoeuvre coming in. Bottom mark, you do not want to have this go wrong. They know what they're doing. Got great teamwork. They've had it all weekend. They're getting the spinnaker down. Well, you could argue it's a little late, but it hasn't slowed them down at all.
No, perfect. I'd be happy with that.
You just play it safe, don't you?
Yeah, I'd be very happy with that. It's all done and dusted, unless the mast falls down. That's pretty much all it would take, or the keel falls off. I reckon even if the keel falls off, they'd be able to sail it home at the moment.
Because that's the other thing. There is no recourse. If something breaks, it doesn't. There's no sort of redress. It's just bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad luck.
Fortunately, from the CYC, these Elliott 7s, they are very new. So the risk of something going wrong is relatively low. That'll change as things get older, but the maintenance programs are very heavy. You know more about that than us, Mark. Yeah. Your fleet of boats.
When one thing breaks on one boat, you then have to replace it on 5 boats.
Exactly.
Or 6 boats. So,
is that right? Is that what you do?
Yeah, because if it fails on one, the chances are it's going to go on the next boat. Yeah. So, but no, it's a learning process. So you learn what makes these boats tick and what breaks and what needs maintenance.
So tell us about the boats that will be sailed in Newcastle, mate.
Oh, so next event in Geelong, we'll sail the RS21s. Very similar to the Elliots, but it's, I guess, a newer, a bit more skiff-like design. Still 4 people. The same teams win.
My memory of those things is in a big gust, which we had a few when I sailed. The nose likes to go down in those things.
they're pretty flighty, so they do look more skiff-like. However, we've had them in some big waves at Mornington. And they've ploughed through some waves and they come back up the other side.
Okay, they're not J24.
No, they do come up. As long as the hatch is done up in the front, that's all good. And then in Newcastle, we'll probably use the RS21s again. However, the club up there does own a fleet of Elliots as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And also Royal Prince Alfred have a fleet of Elliots.
Yeah,
so
sure.
We're looking at options of, I've got 6 RS21s. But those clubs have 8 Elliots.
Right.
Can we have more clubs compete by using
more boats? Sure.
And there could be a chance of using different boats.
Yeah.
We're playing with all the models.
We're good friends of our mates at the Newcastle Cruising Yacht Club. Nick and I did a presentation there many years ago and enjoyed ourselves. And obviously, being a 50 sailor, so many 505 sailors in that club. So g'day, I'm sure plenty of them are watching. We're looking on screen at the moment, Sandy Higgins, at his boat too, as he sails.
Is he picking his left leg, Jordan Spencer?
No, not at all.
Is he picking his left leg?
Not
He's
at
happy.
all. He's just
they
happy.
Look quite relaxed going up there. Angus isn't hiking as hard as he was initially. So I think he's backed it off half a notch.
Yep. It's an interesting dynamic. I wonder if Alex is sitting at home at the moment just going, oh! So
Alex is saying, my dad stole my crew.
Yeah.
And speaking of Newcastle, they've got their next event is what has been the Hunter Sailing League. So all the clubs from Hunter Valley, but Lake Macquarie. They've got a real
no
deep,
good sailors have ever come off Lake Macquarie.
No. So there's some pretty deep talent there. So they're getting all the clubs from that area of New South Wales together for the first league of what will be the New South Wales Sailing League. So that'll be exciting.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so here we go, guys. It's time for all members of the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club to be upstanding for the champion, to see the champion from their club for the Maughan Thiem SA Sailing League, and he's about or just gone over the finish line.
And
there it is. There's the winner.
And the cloud claps along the shore here.
I can see Sandy's partner.
There's a lot of crowd. I had a look out earlier. There's a lot of crowd up at the start-finish area. So they are really going to get behind this guy.
That's a really good win.
Well
deserved. Pretty
deserving.
dominant.
very dominating, won every race today, and dominated his flight yesterday. So well done to Sandy.
So we're going to have to ask them what they were doing differently. They were doing something.
Oh, I know, but I'm not saying. I'll let Sandy tell you.
It was the reverse curse, Jordan Spencer. We only interviewed one guy prior to this. Well, not prior to the regatta, during the regatta, and he's dominated pretty much ever since.
The Barkarati Sailing Podcast Reverse Curse kicks in yet again. He was on the Musto boat too, which obviously they've got enough publicity. We'll get some free Musto gear out of this for sure.
Yeah, and it's actually people like that, sponsors at the Cruising Yacht Club, who help make this all happen. So we had Musto, we had State Swim, and we had Footers. So
and Foodland was
some
there?
prominent, well, for the finals.
Oh, for the
we had Foodland, we had Rinaldi Group, and also I'm working on it. It'll be back with me in a sec.
Okay, for the viewers, Sandy will be up here in a sec just to have a bit of a chat. So don't run away right now. He's going to be rushed straight up here for a chat. And so if you want to hear the secret to success, he'll be here and he'll give that away.
Hey, Mark, I've got a sneaky suspicion. The answer's going to be everything that you told me, Jordan Spencer.
Absolutely.
So big thanks to the City of Port Adelaide and Enfield. They're behind this whole event, the Dockside Festival, which has been fantastic. Adelaide Brighton Cement have been the sponsor of the main stage. Of course, Maughan Thiem Ford have been providing us luxury vehicles to cruise around in, the Ford Everest and the Ranger. We've been doing some cement work. We've overused the demo cars.
I've spoken more about cement from Adelaide Brighton Cement in the last weekend than ever before. We have overused the Maughan Thiem Ford cars, and I'll tell you, too much traction control.
That's such a bossy statement.
It's a bit of a bogan statement for sure, but what isn't a bogan statement? Kite Projects at Dock 1, close here to Port Adelaide, they supported this event with the VIP opening as part of the first qualifying series, which a lot of VIPs had seen sailing for the first time right there and then. They absolutely loved it, and it will go amiss without mentioning the assistance from Smith Motor Group in their 140th year in Port Adelaide, employment and everything like that. So we love everyone that's jumped on board for this event, and people who are going to for the future.
I'm going to suggest that you perhaps are the only Commodore in Australia that has complained about too much traction control in the vehicle.
Well, whilst we do spend a bit of time on that, one little thing I do like to do, because I don't like to take it all that seriously, Jordan, as you know. So I'll take the 1950 Land Rover in, and as a Commodore of a yacht club, you generally get your own car park, right?
Yeah, the
of which I do.
Rusted one.
Of which I do.
Yeah, of course.
So I parked the old 1950 Land Rover in there, which is a bit of an eyesore if you're not what we call rivet counter and know actually what it actually is.
Yeah, pilot jump.
And it's up next to the President's car, the Bentley.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I actually threw that into my opening day speech.
Yeah.
Just to if everyone wants to know the way I want to run this club, take a look in the car park.
Yeah. Look at all the oil stains.
A little bit slippery, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, look, I think there's a lesson in some of this. We look for difference in doing things differently, is what I'm hearing. Obviously, you and I run a really very, very, very popular podcast in sailing.
Probably the second. Oh, no, it would be the most popular.
Well, I think it is the most popular in the world. But the point is, we very much have lots of fun with it, and our audience love it. It's about having fun, not being too serious, but doing the work.
Oop. One sponsor who we should mention, of course, is Pirate Life. For providing us with...
we had great support, of course, from our friends at Channel 7, I think. I think one of the Channel 7 reporters was about to walk in shot. And more
I can see the crowd making their way towards the main stage,
Yeah.
ready for the presentation.
Yep. Sounds like the music's.
So, given we had the fireboat take out all the broadcasting equipment,
Yep.
do you think we could get the champagne taken out all the music equipment? Just to really
if
top
they
the
do,
weekend
if they do
off.
it well,
I'm not expecting Sandy to go a little bit crazy, you know, like he.
Oh yeah, but Angus or Ellen, they'll grab it.
Angus has wolfed something down. There's
will we
one
see
of
a
our
shoey or
competitors
something?
in the footlong sausage roll eating competition.
David Royal, here he
we're
is.
getting heckled from the crowd.
Getting
It's
heckled
good.
from the sidelines.
Good. I'm live to TV, David. So.
So will we see a shoey or a wetsuit booty?
Not
Or
from Sandy, no.
No.
Not from Sandy at all. Like,
Definitely not a wetsuit because he's picked a hole in his wetsuit.
but I will suggest his partner Karen will be ecstatic, and she might do something. She likes running a little bit loose, so yeah. But Sandy's you know, he's just a great guy. But he'll when he's really happy, he'll just give you a really dopey smile, and I think we'll see the dopey smile.
I like that.
Yeah,
We're going to see it today, you think?
yeah, absolutely.
Well, he can't be far away from making their way up now. There might be a little early champagne on the dock, but
It'll be
we
very-
need to get him.
Yeah.
I notice our mate, the DJ,
She's,
is
she's going
still
off.
going ballistic.
How does she do it?
has heard that Sandy Higgins and their crewmates will be coming up.
You know what?
And she's just getting the moves in.
She's a massive Brighton Seacliff
I
fan
cannot
right there.
wait to
Yeah.
interview her. We need to get her on the.
We need her #1 member at
She's-
Brighton Seacliff Yacht
She's
Club.
unreal.
What is she on? It's
She's
awesome.
unreal.
Oh, she's thrown it off.
She was going nuts. I cannot wait to. She's packing up.
She's packing up, getting ready for all the Maughan Thiem SA Sailing League.
We need to.
come
I
up.
think we need to interview her. Like she's still dancing as she packs up.
As she's packing up, I'd like to see her drive home.
I reckon she's. Oh, look, we've got the rear shot now, but she's just gone a little mellow, but she is packing up. But she still sort of breaks out into a big dance at every moment. But I'd say they'd probably give her a police escort home, is what I would suggest.
So, gentlemen, you two guys have come in from interstate specifically for this event. You'll be heading off tonight, or you'll be joining us back at Pirate Life for the after party?
No, I head off tonight, so straight back on the plane.
Yeah.
Back to Melbourne, which is we'll take what we learn here, and let's do it in Melbourne. Like,
Is there
there's
anything
a lot
you
to learn here.
particularly picked up that works, doesn't work, something that you knew, didn't know?
No, it's the great part about this is that this works on a really constrained type waterway. Like, there's not much water here.
No,
And-
you're
no.
right.
So this event can work on pretty much any river in Australia. Docklands in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So there is no excuse to actually say, oh, we need more space. We
No.
don't need more space, we need
No.
less space.
And it's a different way of thinking also for race committees, in the sense that bang, 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 we go through 8 or 9 races within a 2-3 hour period, which is no discards.
No.
It's fully everything to play for.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to do it. I remember we were having a discussion with the race committee for this, and it was like, well, we don't normally do things like that. And that's the idea.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the idea.
And every state league can be different. What suits South Australia may not suit WA or Tassie or New South Wales. So every state will use slightly different boats, slightly different format. Some might do a series over winter.
Yeah.
Some will do a one-off event. And it all works.
You have to slow everything down for the Victorians.
Yeah.
But one thing we definitely have to do is move the main stage to the edge of the wharf
Yes.
and
Yes.
have the music blaring over
Yes.
whilst they're sailing, because this is something.
I feel like
Or we do this from the DJ booth.
I feel like we've got the whole Brighton team coming up. I feel like we've. Oh, there they are. There we go. I can see Sandy. I can see Angus. I can see Joel. And
All right, here they are, team.
and I can
Here's
see.
the winning skipper, Sandy Higgins, and his team.
Come in the back,
Come in
guys.
the
Get in
background,
shot.
guys.
We can work with you all. All right, mate. All right, you're in shot. You're in shot. Team, congratulations. How good are you guys to carry this old stooger around the course?
Yeah, it's nice having some young guys doing all the work, eh? It makes it look pretty easy, eh?
Well, I did notice, Angus, throughout the day, and you won every race of the day, you were leaning extremely hard. The last work, though, you probably backed it off half a notch.
Definitely. Got a little bit confident there at the end.
And so you should have, like, tactics going into the last race was to start to lure of everyone,
Yeah.
get them, keep them high,
Yep.
and just be that leading boat over the
Yeah, they set
start
it
line.
up perfectly. I was surprised it slotted into what I wanted them to do, but they set
It did look perfect.
They set up perfectly for me, and I just held them out. Didn't have to go to the start line until I was ready. So, yeah, held them up, stalled them, and managed to just get away nicely with a bit of pressure.
Did you get the penalties on them, or they hoisted too early?
I'm not sure what happened there. We sort of lost track of that. I assume they hoisted too early.
Yeah, so I think that might have been the situation. They hoisted too early, get 2 penalties. You guys jumped out for the biggest lead of the day.
The whole regatta.
Yeah, made it nice for us actually.
We were expecting all sorts. We were talking it up. We were going to see like fireworks, laughing, jewels,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Well, we were expecting a bit of a heated final, but it didn't really
Yeah.
pan out that way. Sorry, guys.
That's right.
Hey, Ellen, this first time doing this sort of racing?
I did sailing league last year with Alex instead of Sandy, and that was good. So, but it's good to have a bit more practice this time around. So.
Okay, Alan, the question. So, Alex, we referred to as Sandy's son. Which do you prefer?
You can't ask that question.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
It's a roast dinner tonight at home, all right?
I love how Sandy jumped in to defend his son too.
Yeah.
That was good. Now for you, mate, coming in, as you said, you basically picked up Alex's crew.
Yeah.
I've seen all these guys at these events, and obviously your nephew he's been everywhere. He's like Rust. He's into everything at the moment. Going in, were you confident, or were you really focused? Like what was the thoughts?
Well, I knew we had the crew work. Like these guys have just sailed so well, and their crew work was outstanding. So as long as we could get off the start line clean and get into pressure first, I felt confident. Yeah, that these guys could back me up.
Hey, Joel, comment for you. So everyone who was in the finals today had done some training.
True.
As Sandy just mentioned, that was a big part of it to get back in the boats again.
Yeah, definitely. We did one training session leading up, but it was good. But it sort of unplays during this event. You know, you're kind of training as you're racing, but and then everything sort of comes together. And lucky for us, it all came together today, which is good.
Well, won every race.
So there's an interesting observation I've made. So I've known Joel for a little bit now. He's the more tattoos he's got, the faster he's going, and he's gone the US sailing team look. Have you noticed, Spice?
Going for a job on the US sailing team, given the moustache
Nice.
that Paul Kayard has mandated for the US Olympic team.
That's what I'm going for, and then you get picked up because the Luke, not because of the sailing ability, eh? But that should be good.
No, all right. So obviously going in throughout the whole event, it was you and Fritz have had an amazing rivalry over the years. He's got a young team he was switched on. They've been sailing together in the Melges, so you've raced him a lot. You know that team really well. Grego, well known. Then obviously Ben Hinks from your club and his crew. So you would have probably coached all of those guys over the years.
I coached Ben. He's a really good sailor, and obviously fantastic effort for him to get in the finals and come third. He's one to look out for in the future, definitely. I think good little team there, and hopefully they'll go away and do the youth part of the sailing league and get more experience and come back and show us how it's all done.
Well, we just Mark Turnbull did mention to us that there's a couple of teams and obviously now qualified for the to go to Newcastle, of which you guys are going to carry this same team through. Well, there is a little bit, yeah.
There is Alex, of course, so we'll have a bit of a...
So the good news is you've qualified the club.
Yep.
The only difference is it's now going to be two male, two female as part of the Asia Pacifics, right?
Yeah,
that's a bit of recruiting, a bit of training.
Yeah. So
have you guys considered
coin toss?
Sandy's going to lose it, I reckon.
I reckon you'll be in Europe too much anyway, so...
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay, now Alan, if we have to add a woman to the crew, another woman. Who do you want?
Not too sure. I think some of them are already taken, but I'd probably go for Fallon if she's next best.
There we go.
So.
Next best. I love it.
Hey, has she been to your school, Jordan?
Mate, just overall, you know, you've been doing, well, geez, you've been doing this for 40 years, let's call it. 45?
Don't
Easy,
give away my
easy.
age. Yeah, take it easy.
But, you know, you've been at the top of the sport for at least, I think we won the Hardy's Cup when we were about 17 or something.
It's really showing our age there, Jordan. Yes, okay. Where are you going with this?
I was just saying, are you getting tired of it or you just love it?
Nah, sailing's my blood. I love it. This sort of close racing is what I really inspire. I love doing it. It's so great that the CYC have got the Elliots now. This generation are just going to do so well out of having a fleet of Elliots here in South Australia. So hats off to the CYC for doing that. Pity it wasn't around when we were younger, but it's good it's happening now. And yeah, look, I'll just keep doing it. And yeah.
Beautiful conservative tactics. I thought I was watching you. There was just no risk, no mistakes. It was just beautiful conservative sailing.
Well, that's what we're doing. Just try and just keep the risk down and just didn't have to win every race, but just make sure we're there. That was the plan.
But that you did today, my friend.
Yep.
Excellent.
It was funny doing the commentary. We noticed, well, we were looking at who was going to be last and second last, and that was a big focus.
Yeah.
And then that would have been some of your focus as well, but then you moved to the final and you switch straight away.
You have to change around.
Yeah,
you have to go completely different tactics, and that was what I sort of played on the start line on that last race. You had to win it, so try and take the other two out. That was the plan.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Mate, I think they're going to put you up on the main stage. We're getting the signals. We've got to get you up onto the main stage, all of you guys. So as a team, congratulations. You know, it was an amazing effort. It was just pure poetry to watch you today. Congratulations on winning Maughan Thiem Ford SA Sailing League and proving that you're the best.
Thanks, Jordan.
Congratulations.
Okay, so they're heading off to the stage. I think we'll let that cross over to the stage.
Conditions. You couldn't have asked for better conditions today. We'd like to say a big thank you as well to our organisers and the race officials, the City of Port Adelaide, Enfield and the Cruising Club of South Australia. Let's also welcome our sponsor, Jared Molinar from Maughan Thiem. Please welcome. Please come up here and join me. You'll do the honours. You'll get to hand over this much hotly contested trophy. And of course, our winners. Please put your hands together, everyone, for the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club, who today won the race. Well done, guys. We've got Sandy Higgins, who is the skipper, one of the best 505 sailors in the world, and his talented crew, Angus Higgins, Joel McKenzie, and Ellen Sampson. Well done, guys. Amazing. Hold it up. If you've still got any strength left in the arms. Sandy, what does the win mean to you?
Oh, it's fantastic. I've been doing this for a long time, and it was nice to have a young crew I put together this year, and these guys were just fantastic. Their crew work was unreal and faultless the whole way through and made me look good.
Now, the end race had everything. Talk me through the penalties. What happened there?
Oh, we just sort of held our competitors out at the start line and put a bit of panic in their hoist. I think they hoisted too early and they got a penalty on the start, and they made it easy for us after that. Yeah, we just sailed away. It was kind of nice. Beautiful. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank as well? Oh, well, thanks to Harry Fisher and his team for putting this regatta together. Awesome job, Harry. CYC for supplying these fantastic Elliott boats that they have down there. So anyone who wants to get their kids involved in sailing, fantastic way to get involved. The Enfield Council for putting on this fantastic event, stepping it up from last year. And of course, my fantastic crew. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done. Put your hands together. Good job, team. Now that concludes our presentations for today, but that does not conclude the Dockside Festival at all. There will be live music here for the next couple of hours, plenty of food, drink, dance, enjoy.